Alright, have I gotten this right? Bit of a weird stream, I know. Am I audible to anyone right now? Stream? Alright, well, that's a good sign. We can hear you. Cool. Cool and good. Alright, now, let me see. Dicks! Hello? What platform do you want me on? Either is fine. Honestly, whatever side you're on is fine. Title is wrong. Oh my god. Oh, hell. How do I edit stream info? Yeah, I need to edit the stream info. This is going to be very janky. Yeah, alright, hang on. So hang on. Can Twitch hear me? Is Twitch able to hear me? It's Fairy Robin. Yep, this is the avatar that I was using for. Yes? Alright, cool. Alright. I'm here too. Hello. Alright, so. And everything should be working. Which are you going to be looking at more? Both. I'm going to pop out the chat for Twitch so I could look at them both. Because it would be quite difficult otherwise. Alright. I can hear you on both. I got Robin Echo as a result. Well, maybe that's not the best idea. Alright, hang on, let me... There we go. Alright, that's perfect. So now I just need... There we go. Chat. How are we doing today? I think we're doing pretty good. I mean, what am I saying? With the way that video did, I'm doing phenomenal. I was hoping just to be in Call of Duty this, but I guess that'd be way too crowded. Yeah, that would be insane. Alright, okay, I need to pin that there. So... wait, the watch video until stream? Hell yeah! But yep, nope, this is how I... for all you YouTuber people, this is how I, pretty much do all of my Twitch streams. I have been a cute fairy boy for some time now. I'm sorry to betray all of you. But I think we are actually good to go. And I also believe that all the sound effects should still be working for stuff. So everyone's sound effects should be good to go for Twitch. Turn it into a cute fairy girl. This is true. Yep, all sound effects should be working. If I have done my due diligence.
Oh no.
And I believe I have. That's the effect? Yep, there's the effect. Cool. Thank you, Joram. But, there was some change of plans. And also, I do Parasite Eve, every year anyway. So, thank you guys for helping me with the kerfuckle, of, all this shit. Hang on, there is actually one more thing that I want to grab. Easy. There is one more thing that I want to grab before, I actually properly begin.
Oh no.
Chrome. I need a second window. And, yo, what's up? There we go. And, transform.
Fix!
Reset transform. Oh god. I actually had the idea that it might be good to actually have Vegas on deck. So I would be able to show you guys stuff. In the event that we so choose, or I find the need. Let's say, do we see the forbidden pair? Nah, I gave Femi Fiend bandages. It was actually based on a design I saw a while ago. Let me rename this Vegas. Boom. But let's thank you all, by the way, so much for this. Oh my god, so much editing. It's a lot. It's a lot.
Look, I'm not doing Demonless
I need to turn the game.
I don't want to.
I don't want to.
Like,
You can't expect God to do
I understand your guys' desire. I get it. I'm the challenge run
That
guy.
seems like the good volume for it.
I understand.
So I can continue to talk over it, you know?
No.
Even old school SMT runs are difficult.
I see you have arrived, Demi-Fiend, but you're too late. It is
Honestly, I think my favorite part about this has to be...
I can't believe it. We truly wear the Shin Megami Tensei
yeah,
Nocturne
true,
all
actually, kind
around.
of, hun.
So you're telling me all I need to do is summon demons to fight for me, and then I can reshape the entire world?
We both know this is not the first time you have stood
You
here.
told me, I will carry on your legacy.
You've come a long way.
Then do you know why you're fighting now?
Are you satisfied?
Nocturne died, and I...
Kyle sounds like he's going Pegasus mode. Fun fact, actually, that was actually Train's intent. When I asked Train to do Pegasus, when I asked Train to do Hikawa, that was the idea he had in mind. He was like a slightly smarmier Pegasus.
Greetings and salutations, everyone, and welcome back to the first run I ever did. Shin Megami Tensei Nocturne is a game where you negotiate with demons.
Also, I know I'm going to just slightly be a little bit of a self-indulgent asshole, but God, I love the title loop so much. Like, literally, that was like one of the first ideas that I had, was just like, I want to do a title loop. Is that your voice in the video? Yeah, maybe. If I knew you had a live, you said you would never do this before, I specifically would have told all the reasons that would be very possible. Oh no, I figured it was possible. I just didn't want to at the time. The original episode, I watched the re-upload, I attended the premiere, and now I'm here. I love you, Robin. Thank you so much, Shadowcoin. Oh, jeez! Shadowcoin, thank you for the gifted sub. Thank you so much. Let's go. Congratulations to King Titanite. But yeah, and honestly, like, I'm so happy the title loop came out looking as good as it did. Like, I am so happy about that.
Make friends, kill your friends.
Was not prepared for the Uno reverse card. I am so happy that was as good as it was.
Out and attack and dethrone God with nothing but our bare hands. Can you beat Shin Megami Tensei Nocturne without using any demons? Yes. In fact, multiple people have done so. It's not that special anymore. In fact, so many
Again, it's
people
full
have
back.
done so that there are guides written for it and multiple videos showing you how. Most use the extra presto you can unlock on New Game Plus, but in 2020, I showed that it can be
You've
done
done
with
title
only
loops in the
one
past,
action,
but do you plan on
albeit
doing more in the
normal
future?
difficulty.
In some, like, I've never actually done like a full-on recreation of the title loop like I did there. But I've like, maybe? Honestly, like, maybe. Because, like, that was a lot of fun making that work. You know what I mean? And actually timing it directly to... Like, that is 1-for-1 in terms of, like, you know, the timing of the actual title loop. I'm pretty sure at least it's 1-to-1. Like, I'm like 90% sure that I did the title loop 1-to-1. If it's not, it's damn close.
Which cut me some slack. I never played the game before.
It's gonna be a 6-hour stream, isn't it?
Then in 2023, Deyu showed that
I'll try to not make it one.
And I think the title of his video says it all. Solo hard TDE 1 press is most likely the hardest challenge in Nocturne. So without any way to make the game harder, I realized there was only one way to prove I'm the biggest masochist in this community. Mod the game itself. Now, there are plenty of mods for the HD release of the game, but when it comes to the original PS2 version, there's really only one. Nocturne Hardtype.
Liar, we can make the game harder.
Tool of the game by Modo Zambero
Harder, sure, but possible.
Adds new moves and obviously cranks up
You have the metaphor of it'll be funny to charge is Luis killing something absurd. True.
This hack multiple times until October
Also, happy birthday.
Before bowing out of the SMT community.
Right to out masochist day is.
Appearances ever since. This is the most popular mod of the game, bar none. To the point
We
where
started it, you should finish it. Nation 2 would be, I do want to get back to Nation 2 at some point.
Release. But while Hardtype has been well talked about and documented, Bubble T has made an analysis of it, Jim Reaper and Buffmeister have made low-level runs, I found myself in a similar situation to where I was in 4 years ago.
No skills.
Like Ash, Coop, and Huaman have done solo runs of Hardtype, they did it with 2 press turns, which gives the player a significant amount of extra breathing room. Thus, I knew what had to be done. Can you beat Shin Megami Tensei Nocturne Hardtype without using any demons?
To be absolutely 100%, because I want to actually just make sure this is known. No hate to any of the other guys who did challenge runs of this shit before me. Like, the fact that a lot of that was already done is A, what gave me the idea to do it at all, and B, what made researching shit, is it possible to get 2 press turns in Hardtype? Oh shit, yeah, wait. Is it? Is it actually impossible? Nah, it can't be impossible.
The rules of the run should be familiar to you by now, but for
also, hey, Bubble Tea, how you doing?
At no point is a demon allowed to have any quantifiable effect on anything, whether it's inside of battle or outside of battle. Additionally, I'm not leaving
any skills. Oh yeah, needs to a gamer.
The
I've been slowly making my way through
this
this video.
Mode and must be done on hard type. Everything within those boundaries is fair
Can't beat the
game.
bag, you've got to be able to do it.
I'll explain in a little bit. Without any other preamble to get through, let's get this pain train started. Last time I named everyone after my Discord mods, but for this one, I wanted to be a bit more meta. So I named my teacher
Hey, probably gonna stay long. Hey, not a problem. Thank you for being here.
And I named my fellow classmates after other SMT challenge runners. Thus, Nyarly will be filling the role of Isamu, Deus will be filling the role of Chiaki, and Game Champ 3000 will be the only person who isn't going to try and kill me today, Yuko Takao. As for myself, my name is Dick, and fuck you for asking. After my dream visitor tells me to go to the hospital for the mental trauma I've endured, I make my way there only to meet up with 2 other trauma victims. When we know
that Tron Bond. I've always enjoyed her avatar.
We're the only ones here. I mean, the only people who came here are all mainly SMT channels that focus on challenge runs.
Maybe we are here to finally catch a break. Get an easy run for once.
Hardly. Even old school SMT
Is that
runs
Duck Lancet?
Have you considered Yu-Gi-Oh? That's been fun to dip my toes into.
Persona is always popular too.
True. Still, we should figure out what's going on here. Robin, check the basement. I'll check the upstairs. Deuce, you check the ground floor.
Looking around to find out what's going on, we discover everyone's favorite Widow's Peak brooding in front of a
best
prayer
line.
wheel.
Wee.
Takao decides to pull the I'm going to kill.
Trade rolled that one out with just like no emotion.
Everyone in this room card, but Miss Gamer Champ is polite.
I love how Nyarly pronounced the name Deuce. Hey, Nyarly gave me Zephyr. I can't knock it too much.
Do that and get us out of there.
Okay, so I'm the only one here who hasn't played this game.
Was that on script?
Explain
No.
What's going on?
The Wii? Yes.
So, short version, that Vegeta-looking guy is going to use you as a battery to take over the world.
He's going to what?
Also, I love all the lines everyone gave me. Everyone just gave me exactly what I wanted to hear out of them, and I love it so much.
Listen.
You have a Discord? Yes, I do.
Go forth and find your reason. Create the new world in your image. In the ashes of the old world there will be demons. Use them as your sword and shield, and fell the challenges before you.
Okay, apparently it didn't work.
But we both know.
Alright,
I'm not gonna
hang
do
on.
that. You will take the world
It works on
for
Twitch.
yourself by your hand.
Can I access it on your channel? Yeah, it should be actually in the description, but...
But know that the road is paved with suffering. For the domination you seek within your heart.
I love how well, Seal did, Young Lucy.
You must experience true hell.
Wake the fuck up, samurai.
We have a city to burn.
With the challenge now firmly underway,
love-
we get to see one of Hardtype's quality of life
Looking
changes.
cool,
Hey,
Joker.
that one's
Now
very,
display the
very
skills
loud.
that
Carlos, thank
and
you for the
from that,
sub.
We see that Maragaria has been given a huge upgrade, now providing Death Touch, Stun Gaze, Berserk, Dark Might, and everyone's favorite passive damage option, Counter.
What is that line from? It's, Cyberpunk 2077. Game Champs deliveries are like, very excited, doesn't know what's going on, happy to be included. The tweet during the, right before the Cheetah Man fight, that was, like, I actually posted that, and that was her actual response, and I just, like, nope, I have to include that.
Armor has been tuned up quite a bit, giving us
Honestly,
a lot
I
more
love
to experiment with early on. But don't be so hasty grabbing everything. See, SMD Nocturne's system for learning skills is a critical
I love the
factor
way
in
all the
planning
characters
process
felt
of
in
any
this.
challenge run. Once you level up, if you're a high enough level to learn
And I'm
the skill
Vano
from
White.
Nagatama, it will try and teach it to you. If you have slots open, you'll learn the skill immediately.
Wireless.
Otherwise, you'll have to choose between passing on the skill or deleting an existing one. However, once you pass on a skill or delete it, that skill is gone. Forever. Once we get rid of Lunge, we will never be able to learn it again. Furthermore, if we want
Foreshadowing
a
is a
specific
literary
skill,
device.
we must go through all of the skills that come
Doesn't
before
someone
it.
who's ever been.
And since some bosses require some
Right.
skills, we'll have to keep this in mind for the entire run. But that's future Robin's problem. For now, we meet up with Orlando Bloom, then experience the Nocturne tradition of nearly dying to the tutorial.
I'm still genuinely surprised I didn't die to the tutorial. Like, at
I
all.
would have lived if that hit. Okay. That's the typical script for that encounter, admittedly. Shikigami replaces the first Praetor, but we do it that by slamming out 2 back-to-back lunge crits, enjoying the fact that
I forgot to advertise this stream. It is a miracle that there's so many people here.
This is enough for us to cheese our way through the tutorial, grab the Miragi Rock, and use it to blow away the final Kodama encounter. One meet up with Lucifer later, and we make our way into the hospital. We meet up with this patient who wants to leave against medical advice because she doesn't trust the doctor, but I'm sure he's fine. Alright, you know what, fair enough. So our first task is to get her out of Shinjuku Medical. She offers to join our party, so we turn her into our first bench warmer and make our way to the actual first encounter of the run, 3 Praetors. And already the problems start.
Need to kill some
See,
shit.
this fight is meant to teach you how you can take advantage
What
of
are the 2 times Tajiri's mentioned in the script?
Praetors are weak to all magic, so Pixie Zio can make short work of them.
Robin lore.
In normal Demonless, while the Praetors can kill you here, the best chance they have is with Feral Claw, which has a 25% crit rate, but only 75% accuracy. In Hardtype, Feral Claw's accuracy has been boosted to 94%, making that 25% crit rate much scarier. And even if they
Forwarded
don't
battle.
crit, Feral Claw
Wait.
still deals around 9% crit. Feral is a 20% Demonless, while the to all match. See, this fight is meant to...
Alright, killing myself. Thank you all for coming. There's always one mistake you miss. There's always one.
Accuracy. In Hardtype, Feral Claw's accuracy has been boosted to 94%, making that 25% crit rate much scarier. And even if they don't crit, Feral Claw still deals
My favorite song. My favorite song in the game. Forded Battle. The duel with the door. Forded Battle. It is what it is.
Much scarier. And even if they don't crit,
I've already noticed a couple other mistakes in the video, but honestly, they're unnoticeable unless you know forced. It's supposed to be forced.
We die. Each Praetor takes 2 hits to kill, 1 if we crit with lunge, but each lunge costs half a hit's worth of HP. If we don't get
it happens.
Crit,
got the R enforced in my long game video.
I probably could have scummed to win with lunge spam. I wanted something a bit more consistent for, you know, the first fight of the game. Thankfully, I knew just how to do that. Remember when I said the Praetors were weak to all magic? All we need is some form of magic damage, and I knew exactly where to get it.
Alright, multi-stream.
If we could rock from the tutorial for this fight, we'd increase our odds of success dramatically. So I rebooted my entire save
that's
and
probably
took the
a
game
problem.
for another spin. Killed everything again, no problem. Grabbed the Rocky Rock that got back to
I've been dropping a few frames. I've been wondering why. I just realized the reason why. It's because I stream YouTube at around 7,000 and Twitch is locked to 6,000. So that's probably not helping at all. I apologize if there's any bit of lag on either side.
Mean we die turn 2, but RNGing out a miss is a lot easier when you have a giant AoE fire attack on your
I should probably just
It takes a few
close.
attempts, but after around 6 tries, we dodge the first hit, use the Mirage Rock to bring every Praetor within 1 hit of death.
Close Sony Vegas.
And drop 1 with a basic attack.
It's gotta be not
Next turn, we get
helping.
hit twice, putting us 3 hits from death. We kill 1 next turn, take a 4th hit, and 1 more basic attack officially starts the run. Of course, don't think you're out of the woods yet. Random encounters are a nightmare on hard mode, and now they're even worse.
Why do you even have Sony Vegas open? I was going to go back and forth to I was going to go back and forth between that and
because if this is red, this is full.
I wanted to show that like if there was a scene that I wanted to show up, then show off like how it was done or like any kind of background shit. I wanted to have that up just in case, but no. Okay, also that didn't seem to actually help anything.
We're about to experience one of Hardtype's new full moon encounters.
6-7 kilobits per second.
An encounter, it will always be one of these new full moon encounters. Special fight that was specifically crafted to be absolute hell. These fights will put the fear of God into you, and you will be constantly watching the moon to try and avoid them. And Shinjuku Medical's full moon makes one hell of a first impression. You might think a slime should be easy, but these things resist physical, have Sukunda, hit like a truck, and can panic you with Sonic Wave. And on top of that, they can also
1 and
use
2.
Gathering
I believe it's a 1 and 2 in Insaniacs. It's guaranteed here.
to summon more slimes, who can also use Gathering to summon even more slimes. Do not even consider fighting the slimes until you are leaving Shinjuku Medical. It is simply not worth it. You will die. Take what encounters you can and slowly make your way through Shinjuku Medical. With the exception of slime time, you should always have something to grind on, and if you can't, you can talk your way out of it. However, while in Shinjuku Medical, you'll also unlock the one thing that makes this area, nay, the entire run, possible. Death Touch.
I wonder...
Anyone who's ever played an SMT or Persona game before knows Death Touch, sometimes called Life Drain, is usually a garbage move.
Death
dealing
Touch.
pitiful damage and healing you for the same amount. In Hardtype, Death Touch is the savior of the run. No joke. It costs a meager 4 MP and hits for about the damage of a basic attack. However, one of the changes Hardtype made to the math of Nocturne is that magic now scales with level. I've gone into the particulars before, but short version, in the original game, almost every magic skill peaks in damage around level 30.
Always have something to grind on.
Time until level 160, when it bottoms out. Hardtype changes that, allowing magic skills to scale forever, just like physical. So Death Touch starts out dealing damage on par with our basic, and will always do that much damage.
You should always have something to grind on.
Almighty element and healing us. All these things combined keep Death Touch relevant for literally the entire game. Don't think this means you can coast though. The final boss of the area, Hornius, is still capable of getting damage.
Like the Pious skill mutate. Every SMT4 has a god move. Oh wow, that's a lot.
Death Touch
That's what the level you
to
did, right?
To heal significantly less often. Queen Akaya in the stream chat said she thought I'd end up keeping Death Touch until the end game, and she was right. This run would not have been possible without, if I might steal a joke from Deus's
Is it legitimate?
videos,
Did you keep the
Death Touch
keep the levels?
Gaming. Speaking of Fornius,
I did
punching
speed up the
patient is
grinding,
not that different from
a
the last
bit.
time we did it. He's still weak to electric, so
Because
if you pick up the Mazio Rock and
hard.
the Milligan, you could potentially get a free lunge crit. But other than that, he just does slightly more damage and has slightly more HP. He does still have his unique attack, Icy Death, but he never went for it in any of my attempts, and after a few tries, he goes down. Got him!
Looking cool, Joker!
Egaro Vano, thank you for the sub. I need to fix that.
Hardtype allows all demons to gain 75%
Why is that so loud?
experience even in the stock, with Watchful now providing 100%. So Pixie, now evolved into High Pixie, makes it to your Yogi Park.
Thanks for using the shock stream.
She could leave,
I'm going to be completely honest. I almost forgot it. I almost forgot it. Zeph is the one that there's like, what? Why didn't you include it? And I was like, you know what? Shit, you're right. I should. All right, I turned down YouTube alerts. Can someone else subscribe real quick?
But as it turns out, she quite likes bench warming, so we take her along for the ride. When you get to Shibuya,
An iceberg video?
save immediately.
I don't think I'd be able to
The enemies here are quite
cover
a bit
that
scarier
much.
than those in Shinjuku Medical, and if you roll something like 4 Moiraius and 2 Will-O-Wisps, you're probably dead. Our goal is to get to the club within Shibuya and speak to Dave.
What did 40 say? Look for cool Joker is death squid. So true. Also, very shame. What's up? Dicks!
I'm on board.
Alright,
After
I
we
need to
get
fix that
back
as well.
to the save point, or else we lose all the progress we made and have to start over. I recommend starting this journey when the moon is at 7/8 waning to minimize the
Resubscribe.
odds of getting into a full moon
Yeah, I
encounter.
don't think it works if
do
you're
need to
already
grind,
subbed.
Do so in Yoyogi Park. It's right next to a healing station, and the enemies here are closer in power level to Shinjuku Medical than Shibuya is. So lunge and death touch spam should still be enough. This should give you enough power to reach the club, and also give you the money to purchase the Shiranui and Iomante Magatamas from the Jack Frost shop, which I highly recommend doing before leaving Shibuya.
Let's don't activate on resub.
Shiranui's
Yeah.
fire immunity will prove invaluable, but the Iomante is the big one here, as it provides Tarunda,
Okay.
Sekunda, and Rakunda. Be extremely
We're
careful when
getting
leveling
there.
with Iomante equipped. You don't want to level up and learn a skill too soon, and debuff skills are worth their weight in gold. But with enough effort, and enough money, we eventually make it to the club to see how Deus is taking the end of the world.
How long did this take? 4 months.
Truly were the Shin Megami Tensei Nocturne all along.
Neither of us really know.
Go back a little. All right. Hang up. I'm just convinced all this is mucked up. Oh yeah.
Gold. You don't want to level up Rakunda.
Shiranui. Yep.
Neither of us really know what we want to do yet, but it's still early in
I
the
streamed
game,
it like
so
2 to 3 times a week, and I was doing 3-hour
bursts.
bursts.
Getting back to the save point. Talking to Hijiri, he agrees to send us into VR chat as a shortcut to Ginza. I recommend making a backup save before going into the metaverse, since you can't leave once you enter, and the encounters here are a step up from Shibuya.
The double
Airthurs
Shiranui.
can cast Rakukaja to make
So
themselves
powerful.
far tankier than they have any right to be. The arrows have Dia to make killing anything take way too long, and we still have Moryu to deal with. The only solace is that the full moon encounter here is against 2 Shisa. While they do open on double Warcry, we have Fire Breath at this point, so there's still a good grind option if you can swing it. This visit to Amala is slow and
Shiranui
confusing,
squared.
but as long as you keep yourself a manageable distance away from the last
Oh
healing
no.
station, you should be able to get to the end without too much trouble. Though I would be remiss if I didn't show the one big mistake I made here.
What level do we get this? Fuck. Okay, it's not Rakunda. It's not Rakunda. It's not. Actual
Rakunda.
panic.
It's fine.
Actual
It's
genuine.
fine.
Just like
That's
fuck.
fine.
Oh
Not
no.
even one dungeon after I expressed how careful we had to be with Iomante, and I already went and blew a skill on it. Thankfully, Tarunda isn't the only attack debuff we can obtain, and it's still useful to us right now. But we just have to hope this doesn't come back to bite us later. Still, our new ability to debuff the offenses of our enemies does make the rest of the Amala Network easier.
What's your
bringing
favorite
us
joke
to
in
our
this
latest
video?
roadblock,
Dante guns.
the Spectre. The Spectre
Dante
will
guns
provide
is a
some
big
sex
favorite
of
for me.
himself, and after 3 turns, he'll fuse together. The strength of the fusion depends on how
Although I'm
many
also a
hit
big
are
fan
allowed.
of Bites the
Under
Dust.
no circumstances should you let him fuse with 6. But thankfully, they only have around 180 HP, so 2 critical hits from lunge should drop 1. They only have physical and fire attacks, so come in with Shiranui to null fire, and you'll rob them of a good number of turns. If you picked up counter, it's possible to get them down to 3 Spectres, but
By the dust.
the Fused Spectre has 2 press turns, and 2 basic attacks will deal around 100 damage. Not technically lethal, but Death Touch Gaming won't heal enough to keep us alive if he does it again. Use beads if you have to, and if he opens on Agi,
I think Bomb is
go
weird,
for
right?
to debuff him. Although, that does bring me to one of Hardtype's most oppressive changes. Player buffs only go to +2, and enemy debuffs only go to -2. The math
That
behind it
shit
hasn't changed, but this means our buff debuff scale is 150% to 50%, whereas the enemies is 200 to 75. This means we won't be able to rely on buffs and debuffs to completely outclass a fight, but for this one, reducing Spectre's offense by 2 stages is enough for Death Touch Gaming to keep us alive until we're able to counter him to death. Arriving in
Is it
Ginza,
possible to kill
we now
Spectre
have
before they
access
fuse the
to
base
Rad's
Nocturne?
rule-
Yes, in fact, I've done it in Hardtype. I've done it on Hardtype. You can totally just do that. It's difficult, but you
Provides us
can.
with extremely useful options. Attack and magic mirrors to repel physical and magic attacks, the Kaja rocks to cleanse buffs on enemies, as well as 3 new options. The Medusa Eye, a death type item which replicates the
Yagi-
Stone
oh, no.
skill, the Dakunda Rock, which replicates Dakunda to remove debuffs on ourselves, and the Luster Candy, a new consumable which gives us a +1 to all stats. While the Medusa Eye is certainly useful against enemies weak to death, we'll be able to buy them with normal money later.
We get ones back to...
Dakunda Rocks
Really?
and Luster Candies are invaluable. In base Nocturne, the Demi-Fiend has no way to cast Dakunda. It is somehow a demon-exclusive skill.
Dakunda Rocks.
This is one of the most game-defining aspects of a typical Demonless run, as the only way you can remove debuffs was to just buff yourself until they're gone. Dakunda Rocks give us a control over battles we simply did not have in the original game, and I cannot thank Zomberu enough for that. But even more important is the Luster Candy. Yes, it's single use rather than a skill, but a +1 to all stats is huge. Sadly, we can't buy any yet as we lack the gems to do so, but if we can find an easy way to grind diamonds, emeralds, and pearls, we'll have a renewable source of Omni buffs. But for now, we're stuck in Ginza, and there's not really a lot to do here. Nyx's bar is pretty empty, and she won't serve us alcohol because we're too young. And Loki won't let us into his room
Oh, is that
either,
popping
so
up?
we blow this popsicle stand
weird.
and find an abandoned warehouse, which leads us to the sewers, where the mud people live. We learn that they're hiding from the mantra, and nearly 4 years later, continue to give no
Is it possible
fucks
to beat the
about
boss
this
caller for the second presto with this run, or no? No, I don't believe so, no.
situation. However, the
Too much
makeshift
health.
mannequin town does provide us with the greatest grinding well at this point in the game.
Mud.
Everywhere in the Ginza underpass that's not in the water doesn't trigger random encounters, which allows us to avoid full moon encounters, and the Asura here are extremely easy to grind and level off of. In addition, this is the first shop to sell chakra drops, which means we now have a reliable MP heal. On top of that, this shop also sells 3
Correct.
Magatama.
And supposedly it might not even be
Healing
possible.
Magatama, so we can grab Dia off of that. Hifumi, our first Force Null Magatama with some fantastic skills. And Komudo, our first physical resisting Magatama, which packs both focus as well as our new random encounter killer, Bite and Blast. Key Blast has a bit less power than our basic attack and has only an 88% hit
I love
rate,
Biden.
but makes
I
up
love
for
the
it by
Biden
being
blast
all target
joke.
and having an insane 50% crit rate. This singular move allows us to hold our ground in random encounters and group fights, and combos extremely well with Death Touch Gaming due to its higher crit rate. What HP we spend for Key Blast, we can heal if we get a crit, which the more targets
too
we
weak.
have, the better those odds are. We will have plenty to purchase from this shop in due time, but for now, the guard won't let us through. But this guy tells us he can get us
Also,
back if we do him a favor.
I love...
Alright, so you need to sneak to Loki's room.
I fucking love the way... I love the way King Titanite voiced the Collector Mannequin.
Guy tells us he can get us
I
back
love
if
it
we do
so
him a favor.
much.
Alright, so you need to sneak to Loki's room, go into his computer, steal his phone.
Why?
Well, the world blew up, dude. You know how hard it is to find anything good without internet? I mean, come on.
So we sneak into Loki's room and steal his hard drive. Sadly, on the way out, we have to contend with a literal internet troll, who is thankfully fairly easy to kill by tossing on Wadatsumi and hoping for the best. He is weak to charm, so if you have any wagtails,
Collector Mannequin was
this
B.
fight is even easier,
You should be
but
glad my
you
voice was
shouldn't
immediately
be.
ruined by my cold the next
When
day.
it's done, we head back to the underpass and hand Loki.
Would you believe me if I told you it's not the first time someone's recorded for me while sick? I think I've mentioned it a couple times before, But Sonata, who played Simon in the Duel Son of Moses video, recorded the lines for Simon while he was recovering from COVID. That massive hacking cough was just something he left in there. And I was just like, wait, hang on, I can toss that on there when Simon dies. It's just like a genuine ass cough from Sonata. Simon Belmondo?
He's flashed the collector, provides us a slip that lets us through. But of course, you all know what time it is.
Want to record the Satan blindfold vid?
A younger man
Yo.
once said,
"This boss, who is known for being extremely hard, is extremely hard."
And I couldn't agree more. Matador hasn't seen too many changes, aside from his HP going from 1000 to 2500. The only major change is that he swapped Mazan for a new Hardtype exclusive move, Dervish. Dervish is only slightly stronger than Mazan and lowers the target's evasion by 1 stage on hit. Important note, it only lowers evasion. Unlike Secunda, it does not affect accuracy. That said,
I do
if
like
he hits
that.
you with this,
The
you can
skeleton
get your odds of
appears.
Dodging goodbye. And Matador is the first boss that really benefits from the change in
Skellington.
magic formula. Since Matador's level 30, his Mazan would already be getting worse in the base game. Hardtype keeps his damage strong, so
Dervish still low evasion if you block it. Actually, no. You got the wrong text there? I did. Magic would already be getting worse in Nocturne, in damage in base Nocturne as it peaks for 27. Hardtype allows Matador to do more damage simply by existing. What do you mean? Not there. Shit. No, I don't want to open. I don't want to open Vegas. I don't want to open Vegas. Stop. The Dervish one? Dervish only lowers accuracy.
Effect accuracy. Important note, it only lowers evasion. Unlike
that help. Kirara!
Thanks for all the entertainment, and Merry Christmas, Heart.
I don't know why none of the sound alerts are working anymore. They were working and now they're not. Holy dog shit. Thank you so much, Kirara. For the 100. Thank you for all the entertainment and Merry Christmas. That you are too kind. You are sincerely too kind. I want to say hi. I'm about to pass out soon. Merry Christmas, Masochist Man. Thank you so much. Thank you, Hugs Wanted.
Does not affect accuracy. That said, if he hits you with this, a hit hard. And the rest of his kit is still solid. Focusing on the Lucia still hit like a truck, and he now benefits more from taunts due to the changes in buffs and debuffs.
Big Dodo this month, but I had to get tired to your permadeath. I have to match that later.
Oh, downright impossible.
Only do it if you can.
There's one thing we can do to give ourselves an edge. See, the Ginza Underpass shop is the first to provide lucky tickets. If you spend 1,000 Maka or more at the shop,
I love the
he'll give you
Konoya
1
theme.
ticket, and once you hit 10, he'll offer you a pull from one of 3 boxes. And while we're going to be spending a lot of time with the white box, believe me, right now we are interested in the black box, since 3 of the 4 gems it can provide are diamonds, pearls, and emeralds. The 3 gems required to purchase a luster candy.
I think that means our next 2 metaphor streams are getting extended 2 hours.
That sounds like it makes sense to me. Or at least 1 hour, or at least 1 hour each.
Pass is mostly a safe zone, and
Thank you for the 10, Zeph.
Are easy to kill. This allows us to reload until
How does one permadeath Guitar Hero?
Effectively,
you have to full combo the entire game. Literally, full game, full combo. If you fuck up a single note even once, it deletes your entire save. Lost for candies in a black box. But he couldn't, got mad, so he didn't. Don't Don't go breaking my heart.
Giving us luster candies for a price tag of 30,000 maka and about a half hour of our time.
I forgot sometimes that you were around there.
Well, that's because Matador does not have Dekaja.
Can you believe that I was editing this when I was editing this we were at 10,000. When I dropped it we were at 12.
Unfortunately, we don't have a method to farm money without also farming levels yet.
Cool.
So while I
Looking
farm
cool,
Alex back,
Joker.
thank you for the follow. The sub on YouTube.
More skills. Specifically, I tagged out Berserk and Dia for fog.
Came with the Kuna, cut him some slack.
New
Good point, good point.
Target ice move that applies to Kuna on hit. I took these two as a combo. Matador only reapplies Red Capote if his evasion or accuracy are at 0.
I forgot 2,000
If we reduce him to
subscribs.
+1, Matador will not reapply.
No.
Okay.
We were at 10,000. I see what you're doing to me. And it'd be better with the glitch. Fair.
And we can luster up to +2 evasion while he sits at +1 accuracy, which actually gives us a non-zero dodge chance. Of course, this requires us to stay at +2 evasion, and to that end, I elected to equip Hifumi. Dervish deals around 90 damage unresisted, and while the physical resistance of Kamuda would have been nice, force immunity was simply more valuable. This did mean we were susceptible to physical damage, and since we were already at +2 offense, once he started using taunt, it was effectively just a -2.
Do you use a Luster Candy without duplicate?
The +2 to our
right.
magic attack made Death Touch Gaming
now we know. Now we know.
To tank him considerably. With that, a couple choice attack mirrors to reflect focus boosted Andalusias, plenty of Death Touches to heal stall, and a couple lucky lunges, we took down Matador in a respectable 17 attempts.
Believe!
Yeah! We did it! Yeah, we did it!
Doesn't an evasion drop? I think so,
With
yeah.
that, we unlock access to the Labyrinth of Amala.
Fuck, I have a favor to ask. Also, fun fact, actually, about the editing process. Every single, every single time Nocturne sound effect in this game, in this video, manual. I had to re-add all of them manually. 100% of them. I love watching Fairlord Robin watch Robin and Zephyr. I do not use this good as a joke. Honestly, I don't remember. I don't know.
And more specifically, the Amala tunnels. To traverse into any of the Kalpas of Amala, we must undergo a dumb, stupid minigame, in which you punch orbs in order to make money pop out. The more correct orbs you punch without taking damage, the more money you get. In this first tunnel, you can get 855 Maka, which means 12 perfect passes will give you the 10,000 Maka necessary to grab a gem for Luster Candy. This means we now have the ability to farm Luster Candies without increasing our level. Since I don't like to just out-level everything,
So glad you guys recommended this channel to Robin.
So true. Thank you, Zeph, for the 10.
Because I haven't mentioned it does not mean we have not been getting our ass beat by random encounters. We finally managed to make our way to Ikebukuro and enter the Mantra base to find Gnarly attempting to negotiate.
You know what? Actually, this might be my favorite bit.
Thor into his party.
Let me take a huge chunk out of your HP.
Alright, sure.
Unfortunately,
that might be my favorite bit. That might be my favorite bit. I was a dumb stupid minigames the entire reason the low level run is a complete fucking issue. Good point. Brother Christ just finished watching this. Congratulations on the run. Thank you so much, Hugo. Hey there, what's up, anime?
Finally, we get arrested for breaking into Loki's room earlier, and we have to endure 3-stage trial by combat. These fights are only slight tune-ups from the original game. Orthus uses his physical attacks a bit more, but can ultimately be cheesed by equipping Shiranui to Null Fire. Yaxini has even less to do, as she still only has a basic attack and force moves, so she can be cheesed by equipping Hifumi to Null Force. And Thor is the same as ever, preferring electric, so he can be cheesed with...
nothing!
Oh, right. Yep, just as always, you get the Magatama.
Got a dip? Alright, take it easy. Thank you for stopping by, Dog Mario.
That specializes in
Merry Christmas.
Thor's damage is absurd. Even resisted, his basic attack does damage in the 60s, and it feels like he crits more often than normal enemies do. And his electric attacks, whoa, Nelly. Thor's Mazio hits for around 75, his Zionga for around 150, and that's just his starting moves. He upgrades once you deal enough damage to him. You need to debuff Thor's accuracy. There is no way around this. I sacrificed my life.
Great design, Nocturne, really cool.
And came in with 2. Lustering up serves a dual purpose here. It not only increases our evasion, but also increases our defenses.
Yeah,
Meaning if he
200
does
with a
hit
basic.
us, he won't be doing
You didn't
as
call it
much.
the mozzarella.
Open on
I
top.
debated whether to do that, honestly.
With the game to -2 accuracy, then buff up.
But honestly, no one ever commented on the fact that I was misnaming Magatama on the original video in like years. So I just kind of assumed it was a joke that didn't land.
With Luster Candy to get yourself the +2 evasion. This won't remove the chance for Thor to hit you, but it will make dodges possible. But that's not the threat of the fight. Personally, after you deal
I haven't
enough
seen
damage
comments on
into
it.
his second
Really?
phase,
Huh. Mashed potatoes make you stronger. I do hear a lot about that. That's the one I do hear. I might have just missed him, I guess? Huh.
he gains Dekunda and Dekaja. And while his AI doesn't spam them, he does have them available, so he can put you in a very bad situation if he decides to
You're
use
good. My bad.
Second is
I might have
Diorama.
just
He's
spaced.
always had this, but it now heals for considerably more, even if we debuff his offense. And lastly is a new move exclusive to Hardtype, and Thor's signature move. It's so over. It's so over.
I have the power of God.
In Hardtype, Zeodine is power 56 and has a 34% chance to shock the target. Mjolnir is power 66 and has a 40% chance to shock.
That was so bad.
Mjolnir does around 230
I love Mjolnir.
damage to us raw, and 130 if we
Funny
have
move.
+2 defense and Thor has -2 attack. At 270 HP, 2 Mjolnirs will always kill us unless we are at +2 -2. As such, I had to change my strategy a bit. I decided to drop Lunge for Health Thrust, which can crit for over 800 damage if we're focused. Now winning the damage race, we were able to slowly but surely whittle Thor down. Proven innocent, Thor gives us the
Mjolnir.
Nakatama, which will definitely come in handy later, before telling us to go see Gozu Tenno, his leader. After we heal up, we head back to the Mantra HQ to go meet with the leader and save Gnarly. But before we do that, we
I
have to
love
contend
this
with
intro
one of the
so
most
much.
difficult fights in any challenge run of Nocturne.
Nice meeting you, kid.
Don't take this too personal.
The first fight against Dante is probably one of the roughest fights of the run, and he was already one of the hardest fights in normal Demonless. He refuses to be debuffed, consistently pulling out Holy Star if you try, hits extremely hard, and has an astronomical crit rate, mostly due to his unique special move,
El Dante. El
Doesn't hit that much harder than
exterminador
his
de
basic attack,
los
but it
demonios.
has a 200%
Something like that.
chance to hit and a 50% chance to crit.
Take your problems to
Dante
HR.
can use this to chain turns together and drain you of your HP, even if you resist his attacks. Furthermore, he also comes equipped with Provoke, a special variant of Taunt which not only gives you a +2 to physical
Kinda
attack
is,
and a
yeah,
-2
like,
to
the couple
defense,
times when he would use
but
it.
also restores most of Dante's HP while he's at it. Now, all of this is stuff Dante had in the original game. So you might be wondering, what makes him so much harder now?
But it's a lucky thing I had my pieces.
Your pieces?
My gun.
Oh.
Anyway, I started blasting.
Dante has an additional unique attack called Ebony and Ivory.
I
or
love
just
that.
E and I. This was relatively unimpressive in the original game. It hit 4 times at 8 power each, so it had a total power of 32, the same as the basic attack.
Dante's at a Rhino
It
makes
also
me
had
sad.
the same
I don't think you
accuracy as
can.
the basic
I don't think
attack,
you can run hard type with Rhino.
and only a slightly increased critical rate of 13%. This made it essentially spending 3 MP for a slightly fancier basic attack. In hard type, every aspect of
This
E and
epic
I
video
has
would be
been
a heart
upgraded.
attack.
Its damage has been increased to 9 power each for a total of 36. Its accuracy has been bumped up to 150%,
Top 5.
essentially making it impossible to miss. Its crit rate has been increased from 13 to 30, but more than any of that, it now debuffs evasion and defense by 1 stage on hit. I shit you not. Dante is capable of killing you by spamming this move and doing nothing else. That's real. It can happen. It did happen.
Multiple times.
More than half of Dante's evasion.
This shit is. I was not. Literally opens on 4 ENIs, kills me turn 1.
Available options are literally incapable of missing.
I don't know when in the
Including,
VOD
but
that
not
happened,
limited
but
to,
like,
bullet
there were a
time,
couple times that I was
which
just
is
like, are you
literally
fucking kidding me?
incapable of missing. The tooltip says so. It's Swift from Pokemon. I needed more of an edge than I had, and I was getting close,
Fido mode.
just barely not managing to win off of counters alone. I had the skills I needed, and I was getting lucky, but it wasn't getting
Like
me results.
Lucifer all over again?
But
Yeah.
when skill and luck failed me, I remembered the wise words of my elders.
That's right, we're gonna cheat.
While doing some testing
I
on my
love that
own
image.
strategy to fight,
I made it
accidentally
myself.
began using a luster candy, stopped, and then used a Moirai rock, only to find that I had somehow accidentally buffed the enemies instead. Upon further testing,
I
this
literally
could apply to
found this out while I was just sitting in a call with my Pathfinder buddies.
every item. I had discovered a Hardtype exclusive glitch that I dubbed the Luster Glitch. The
You
method
know?
is simple. Begin using a luster candy, stop, and then either use any other item or Demi-Fiend's basic attack.
Take away
for some
Dante's
reason.
bullets.
The item will be consumed, and the target of the effect will receive the effects of the luster candy.
Use that slide. We're gonna
so
cheat.
A medicine will luster the
damn.
target it's used on. The Satraja rock will luster your
Good
entire
bet.
party, and the Moirai rock will buff the entire enemy.
I made
party.
this.
Also, I have no idea why Demi-Fiend's
Tell you when you
basic
realize what
attack
actually happened.
works,
Yeah, just
but
like that.
it buffs
What
the
the
enemy you swing at, which is somehow even stranger than everything else I said. I'm not sure if this is an issue with storing data in the game's memory, or caused by the fact that the luster candy occupies one of Nocturne's typically unused item slots, but the effects cannot be understated. Using this glitch, the price of a luster candy goes from 30,000 Maka to around 500 or 1200, depending on the item we use. Speaking of, the one hang-up is that the item you use must be one that can be used on the target. So you can only
Save
use
at
a
least 30
medicine if
hours.
you want
Yeah.
the HP, a target
Passion
drop if you want
Insaniacs.
the full MP, etc.
It's just not a thing in Insaniacs. I think the way items were added in Insaniacs was different, and it isn't a thing.
This lack of needing to spend hours grinding up a single luster candy gave me the edge on Dante that I needed, as I was now able to luster up to +2 offense much more easily. Combine this with a couple of attack mirrors I found to potentially get him to E&I himself, made for a much more powerful combination, as I could potentially find myself at +2 evasion, which could cause his basic attack to miss.
Woo!
Nothing else though.
Looking
E&I
cool,
Panel
Joker.
9920. Thank you for the follow on Twitch. Let's
Eventually,
go.
he gets low enough to break out Provoke and Bullet Time. In spite of his guaranteed
He
hit chance and
Nocturne.
30% chance to panic, Bullet Time actually
3
isn't that
times?
bad, as it's his weakest attack by far, and the only move he has outside of his basic attack that has a normal 4% crit rate. It took a lot of counters and a lot of luck, but after 2 straight streams of Dante attempts, we send him back to hell. He's at 476. He's at 476. Yes!
My YouTube algorithm blessed me with your content. I'm very thankful. Thank you so much. Thanks so much, panel. That causes you to beat Dante. Oh, this first one was the Demonless one. Yep.
One more counter. One more counter. One more counter. Give me your soul! Good fucking God! That took all day! Now able to finally get into Mantra HQ, we talk to their leader, Gozu Tenno, and he gives us the power to have 2 more demons in our stock. Cool. This is when Fiend number 2 becomes available.
10 points to Gryffindor for whoever can identify that reference.
Looking cool, Joker.
Who just subbed? Who just subbed? Someone just subbed. I saw it happen.
Sojo. Last time, I waited to tackle him until after I did some later content. But this time, we're doing it now. Daisojo is one of the
I did?
easiest
Oh,
fiends,
thank you.
but he's also
Borderlands
pretty
1? I mean, that was
One
where
of
the
most
source came
impressive
from.
moves for this point in the game, meditation.
I was referencing a different
Although the
video.
hardest hitting attack in the
YouTube video
world,
someone made.
It still drains a pretty significant amount of HP for this point in the game, while also draining your MP.
Sketch
This creates a
Pixels.
twofold problem. We need
Seth
to outdamage
Stapleton?
his
Ah,
healing,
thank you.
while also being
Thank you,
able to do
Seth
so
Stapleton,
without
and
losing
thank you,
too much
Axel.
MP. This brings us to how Daisojo is one of the easiest fiends. Most fiends can be put into one of two boxes. They either have Dekunda or they have Dekaja. Daisojo is one of the only fiends that has neither. In a normal run, this isn't all that useful, since we'd only have access to debuffs at this point in the game.
Is there someone who would make it how easy it is to solo knocks it on merciful video? That could actually be an interesting video to make, now that I think I've kind of dismissed merciful out of hand, except for the purposes of cheating. We shouldn't. I thought he did something on merciful.
Anyway, but this is far from a normal run. Fog Breath and Luster Candy get our
Was it
evasion
Twitch?
to an extremely respectable level, while also reducing the amount of HP and
It was
MP
gnarly?
he steals and hits. Hindsight 2020, I could have kept Tarunda with a bit more strategizing, but this already made the fight much more manageable. Of course, dumbass that I am, I still decided to wear Kamudo to resist his physical attacks, instead of wearing Iomante to block the Mind Element Preach. Something Kamudo is notably... God!
Oh, this bit.
Weak against. Not like that, not like that, not like that! Come on. We just have to clear. Meditation is a guarantee though right now. Wait. Oh my god. Come on. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Dick is acting strange.
Dude. Fucking get your shit together. What is happening? Holy fuck. But with probably
Genuinely
the biggest instance
flabbergasted.
of luck I've ever seen, we managed to pull a run out of our ass.
Can you beat
and
merciful
close the
without
book on
killing
Daisojo for good.
Ooh.
Gotta go for that dark fight. Yeah! Never punished. Never punished. Absolutely
John
never
last
punished.
once about solo run in the remake. Oh, really?
Anyway, Gozutano offered us to join the Mantra and help him raid the Assembly of Nihilo, which we sign on to wholeheartedly for reasons I'll get into later. In here, we have to fight Eligor, 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 and Bareth, before we finally have to head back and fight Patrick Starr and his dumbass cousins.
I have no idea how I lived.
These guys are weak to expel, so I decided to toss out a couple of the Mahama rocks I had on hand, which dropped 2 of them. From there was literally nothing else the last one could do to stop me from Death Touch gaming it to death.
Weak to oh god.
Excuse my speeding through this section. There's not really much to talk about. Our Key Blast Fog Breath combo made sure that the encounters weren't too difficult, so most encounters could be bowled through until we make our way down to Hikawa.
You can skip. Yeah.
I see you have arrived, Demi-Fiend, but you're too late. It is I who will be the best Megami.
Yeah, I do intend to come back to the SMT5 math.
Watch as I kill all my enemies in a single.
I'm not a big fan of VTubers with the model slaves. Love it. Thank you so much, actually. Like, this isn't my typical model. I think you can judge by, you know, the fairy wings. My typical model looks like this. Kind of like, you know, that, like, you know, gentlemanly kind of thing. But, for all the SMT Nocturne runs, and just as a general, you could do this as a channel award. Oh god, my voice is shot today. Yeah, no, I'm putting it back on. I'm putting it back on.
Someone needs to make a mod that lets you spare bosses like in Undertale and nets you 0 XP as a result. You still have to fight the boss proper, but spare every enemy boss for a truly merciful experience.
Truly merciful experience. So true.
Dude, no.
What?
You're supposed to kill your friends.
Oh, I...
Would love to see a SMT4 math
It's alright,
video.
keep trying.
Honestly, that would be fun if I could find some good amount of math on it. I think it's actually documented.
Not to mention, Game Champ plays a key part in this system.
I have no idea what that even means, but I'm happy to play a key part in this system.
Also, my voice is shot. I can't do girl tonight. I'm sorry. I can't be a girl tonight. I'm sorry. Robin cannot girl tonight.
And now?
Oh,
Happy to play a key.
oh.
Can't expect God to do all the work.
God, it's so loud. I'm also Twitch channel point redeemed. Yes, you are. Speaking of, would you like to come up here? Also, I love this so much. See Game Share trying out an SMG game. Look, if this gets her into the franchise, fucking that'd be awesome. I would love to see what she... I would love to see what she comes up with. Doing this shit. Also, by the way, Hunter Eagle, thank you for the 2. But yeah, no, I posted this just because, like, this was a funny screenshot. And I just posted out and said, thank you to Game Champ, Crawling Yarly, and Deus. And Game Champ, who most likely had not seen this game ever. She just looks at this and goes, I am very confused, but I am happy to be here. Panel! Thank you so much for the Twitch sub. Let's go! Come in! Alright, hang on. Let me change my setup. Click. And click.
Oh, I need the there.
No, you don't.
Oh, that's right. Your mic's moved. I
Yep.
could probably sit over there then.
My mic is extremely directional.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
Okay.
Don't get stopped by the door. It's they. It is
me.
Is they. Alright. Anyway.
And now?
Ose has not changed at
No.
all in Hardtype, only gaining a bit of an HP bump.
Okay, it actually is picking it up a little bit.
Yeah, I figured it would. You can put it back on.
Yo!
Just finished the video on my own and wanted to stop by and say well done. This is your magnum opus and you should be very proud.
Thank you so much. That means a lot, Darkwing Spartan. Thank you so much. We Cheetahman. Also, fun fact, the text formatting is intentional because that's the way the actual Cheetahman thing is.
I love the Cheetah.
Ose has not changed at all in Hardtype, only gaining a bit of an HP bump. Well, that was until I buffed the boss by accident. Yeah, remember when I said the Luster Glitch applies the +1 to the targets of the item? It does not discriminate. So when I accidentally used the Kaja Rock
It's so
instead of
good.
Kaja Rock, I buffed all of Ose's stats by +1 instead. And to add insult
video
to
yet?
injury,
Thank you.
that was my last Akaja Rock.
The hell
so I
is
couldn't
the
even get rid of the
Golden Freddy?
buffs. But ever the masochist and
Jeff, I
really
don't
not
know what
feeling
that
like
means.
reloading, I decided to play the
At
fight
Five
out.
Nights at Freddy's
Thankfully,
reference.
a +1 didn't make the fight much different from normal.
That does
He
not
mostly
clear
focuses
much
on
up.
hitting you with
Fair
powerful
enough.
physical attacks, made much more accurate via Sukukaja, usually opting for focus into Heat Wave. Thankfully, Kamuto's physical resistance halves that damage,
Put on the dress?
and Fog
What-
Breath
what?
and Luster
I
Beam
don't-
give us a fairly high miss chance, to the point where we don't need to worry about it hitting all that much.
Damn
While he
cheater.
does have the Kaja and the Kunda, meaning he could theoretically remove our buffs or his accuracy nerfs whenever he wanted,
Oh,
he literally
yeah, dress.
never used them. He also has Tetracon and Makaracon, which allow him to repel physical or magical attacks for the turn. But Almighty ignores both, so Death Touch Gaming still applies.
And
Death Touch is the name of the game here. It gets around his shields and keeps us alive even if he manages to land a high damage
All
hit
boss have
through our
permanent
mitigations.
+2. Jeez.
This fight is far from free, but as long as you're careful, you
That
can
means-
send this Cheetah Man back to the
This pumpkin
NES,
no pie.
unlocking
No.
the Anathema
I do.
Magatama.
I know you do.
Returning to Ikebukuro, we
Remember
see...
that one time you
Hey,
recited
Deus!
like
Hey,
20
Robin,
digits or
what's up?
something and then I kissed
Yeah,
you?
just came
Yes.
back from tearing apart Nihilo. You?
I just got here through the Ginza underpass. Did you meet the mannequins? I love the twitchy little guys. I wanna try to help them, don't you?
We learn that they're hiding from the mantra, and nearly 4 years later, continue to give no fucks about this situation. Absolutely.
Great. Well, I'm gonna go try and get some demons. I heard they might be gathering at Asakusa soon.
Asuri, I agree, they are a cutie pie.
Aw, thank you.
Smooth as fuck transition with the Nakash Rock effect. I was so like, I didn't have the Nakash Rock initially. I was like, wait, hang on, and it sounded so good. I was like, oh fuck. Nocturne Hardtype, but almost. Will you go back to this challenge for a mini vid? I'm not sure what you mean. Raise the shame. Okay, sorry.
That was close. Anyway, hey, Gnarly, have you figured out your reason yet?
What the hell are we doing wandering around in this godforsaken world?
Gnarly did such a good job with
he's
this
still
shit.
going through it. We'll
hell?
check on him in a few.
That is
So
my
we make
phone.
our way out of Ikebukuro, only to get ambushed by a non-copyright infringing Ghost Rider on our way down the freeway. And I'm gonna be real, I gave this one my best shot, but it was not happening. Hellbiker is unique among the fiends in that he is the
Gnarly
only
is being
one
very
with both
gnarly.
Dakuga
Gnarly.
and Dekaja. As one of his unique moves, Hell Exhaust, also Dekajas your entire field. And frustratingly, the Dekaja still
Force Wizard
applies
Yahweh?
even if you're immune to Force, so that's fun. But the real issue with this fight comes down to our available options.
Is it Insaniacs or
Hellbiker
is
has
it
two elemental options. The
like where it just
aforementioned
adds it
Force
in as a
Element
bonus
Hell
boss,
Exhaust and
or
Skull,
is it a replacement?
which replaces Hellburner and now acts as a Maragi that debuffs physical attack by one stage on hit.
Turbo
If we
Great.
wear
I love
Hakumi to
Battle
null
Speedster.
Force, we'll be weak to fire, meaning Scald will now deal insane damage and kill us the second we reach his later phases. And if we wear Shiranui to null fire, we'll be weak to Force, which will kill us even sooner. And both of these skills mean that we won't be able to maintain buffs and debuffs, so we can't try to cover our weakness that way. And while Kamuto's physical resistance would help us
I
with
probably
his
could
basic
have
attack,
taken
it would leave
Void
us neutral
Force
to his elementals,
off
so
of,
he could rip a hole in us without any notable effort. It would be
Void
some
Force and
time
Void
before we
Fire
could
off
even
of
entertain
Shiranui or
the idea of
Hakumi.
doing this fight,
But I was kind of trying to
we will do it
be
eventually.
safe.
Arriving at the Kabukicho
I didn't know if I would
prison,
need it.
We find the
And also I
mannequins
probably would have
they
needed
were
it
so eager
for
to work with in
Moirai.
prison. So we gotta help them if we want any hope of being able to continue onward. This dungeon is really more of a puzzle cube than anything else, and it is definitely pretty confusing. Essentially, you need to swap between
Sluggish
the real world
toddler.
and the illusory upside-down world in order to navigate the place effectively.
The little pumpkin pie
But
model.
with enough
Yeah.
effort,
Yeah,
you'll make
that's
your way
me.
through the prison and reach the final boss, Mizuchi, who is most likely the least changed fight in the entire game. His HP has only been increased by 1,800 for a total of 6,600. That's literally it. That being said, the changes to the magic formulas do increase his damage by no small amount, as he starts with heavy damage ice attacks along with the mind
I
element.
love that
Mirage.
not even
But
Hardtype
Luster Candies
even
and Full
bothered
Breath give
with
us the dodge
Mizuchi.
chance to avoid damage.
No,
while
nothing,
Death
boss.
Touch Gaming keeps us alive when we do take damage. I recommend using
Worthless
Iomonte
boss.
over Watatsumi,
None boss
as dodging the
left
panic
snake.
chance on Mirage just felt better to me.
None boss
Always
left
start a turn with
snake.
Miragi Rock for damage, but in terms of the order in which to set up, I recommend starting by lustering up for both damage mitigation as well as
Maniacs.
evasion. Once he misses, use
That might
Fog
be-
Breath,
that could be
as him
interesting,
being
I
at
guess.
-2 with us at +1 gives us a higher dodge chance than us being at +2. After that, luster up at the next opportunity, and Mizuchi won't even be able to touch
Once. What?
The funny part is that this dungeon is very memorable for being confusing. The boss, no one gives a fuck about the boss.
Yeah, honestly, everyone remembers Kabukicho for the dungeon itself. No one talks about Mizuchi.
Exactly.
How would...
My two.
Yeah, you...
Oh.
The mic is extremely directional.
Wow.
Like, I'm talking directly into the mic, and I'm, like, consistently louder than you.
That's weird.
No, that's how
Well, I'm not
most
that-
mics work.
Yeah, but I'm like not that far away from it.
Because you're not looking at the mic. One of the best ways to fight a dungeon so good. Yeah, it's just the dungeon. You fight Mizuchi's the dungeon before the boss. Right! I mean the same dungeon. None boss left stand, the king of hell. Even Black Frost is more memorable. I agree. How would I buff Mizuchi? Well, for starters, have Mizuchi not be in the... not be a normal enemy in the dungeon he's a boss in.
Yeah, that was... I always thought that was weird.
Give Mizuchi a big hat. It's a good balance of fucking with the player and throwing the nothing boss of players after reading the dungeon again. Yeah, that's a fair point.
Yeah.
And I also do like the fact that the boss shrinks over time. I think that's cool.
Yeah, that was interesting. I just hate that it's an enemy in the same dungeon.
My thanks to you for saving me. I am Futomimi.
Thank you,
You
Zeph.
may know it already, but I can see into the future. Allow me to prophesize your future as a token of my gratitude.
I thought maybe not.
What did I do? Voice Futomimi.
I gotta get out of here.
Wonder what his deal
I love
was.
that sound effect so
anyway,
much.
I think he said Gnarly's in here. Hey, Gnarly, have you figured out your reason yet?
I saw everything.
Who's Futomimi?
This world, this challenge, it's all fake. We're just recorded lines, forced to say the same things over and over again.
What do you talk about how well
as
this
long
song
as this
goes
game
for this scene?
exists, we won't ever die.
It does.
Nocturne will
Survive
just
on
keep
your
going
own
forever.
works really well for this.
I'm sorry, Robin. I know what I have to do.
What is it about SMT that makes all of my friends so weird? Anyway, so with the mannequins freed, we make our way over to
That
the
was the next one,
Ikebukuro
Futomimi.
Tunnel. Thankfully,
Oh,
I've
that's
played this
silly,
game so
gnarly.
many times that I basically know the Ikebukuro tunnels like the back of my hand.
Scotty
But that's not the
about
main
it,
thing in this
an
area.
Albion.
That would be the
I
Onis.
assume you mean Asiel. Who took my Futomimi and put him in Hardtype? But honestly, I don't mind them. I actually kind of like those fights.
Suiki, who specializes in ice, Fubuki, who specializes in force, and Kinki, who specializes in physical. In the base game, Suiki and Fubuki are pushovers, since their physical
Repeatedly
attacks are weak
opens
enough to
physical
base
test
tank
on
while you
three
use them
Kagutsuchi.
to
Wait, did I do that?
However, hard hand. Thankfully, Anyway, so with the mannequins freed, we make our way over to the Ikebukuro tunnel.
Yep.
Thankfully, I've played this game so many
Oh,
times. that
right. I
basically
remember
know
what
the-
I did. I was running low on health items, and I genuinely wanted the lifestone more.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That did happen.
I remember that. Like, I made... That was a conscious decision.
Ikebukuro tunnels like the back of my hand. But that's not the main thing in this area. That would be the Onis. Suiki, who specializes in ice, Fubuki, who specializes in
I would
force,
not do
and
that if I
Kinki,
actually
who
wanted the
specializes
thing.
in physical. In the base
Yeah, no,
game,
thank you so much,
Suiki
Elect
and
Man.
Fubuki are pushovers, since their physical attacks are weak enough to face tank
a good
while
item
you
at
use them
Moonchest.
on
I'm pretty sure it was a
Tama to build their
Sapphire.
magic attacks. However, Hardtype's higher damage numbers mean that even at +2, physical attack spam against neutral resistances can still be lethal if they
As
get
my
lucky.
summer fit.
And since every Oni has had their
Interesting
HP
way to put
at
that.
least doubled, the odds that they'll get lucky are higher than I can handle at my current level. And don't even get me started
The
on
mic thing
Kinki.
is 'cause I'm used to having
As
a
such, we
headset.
decide to table these for
I'm
now,
not used
which
to
makes our
having to
first
look in a
visit to the
specific
dreaded
direction.
Ikebukuro tunnel fairly uneventful. And speaking of uneventful, arriving in Asakusa is fairly uneventful as well. For most people,
How'd that
challenge
change?
or no,
Nope.
you'd have beaten Daisojo and Hellbiker by now, as they really aren't that difficult if you know what you're doing. This allows you access to the second Kalpa of Amala, and beating that spawns the Four Horsemen as bosses. Specifically,
feel like I
White
got
Fighter will
louder.
now spawn in front of almost every terminal in the world. However, since the can still draw his breath, we can't
A
go
3-hour video
Thus,
was a great
Asakusa
birthday
is peaceful
gift.
for the time
Time.
being, and we can
Thank you
save
so much,
unabated.
Akito. I'm
This
glad. I'm
also
happy
means we can
birthday.
start purchasing stuff from the Everything to Fuck White Rider shop before White Rider even arrives. Which
I
is
would hope the first
extremely
visit to
useful.
Asakusa would be uneventful. Yeah, you'd fucking think, but if you did, The funny thing is there's a very real chance, because Kabukicho goes straight into, the Ikebukuro tunnels. So if you decide to tackle, like, I remember it on my original, on like one of, it was either no Demi-Fiend or no Demons for Nocturne. I fought Hellbiker and Daisojo in such a way that when I finished them and I did the whole Kalpa thing, I then went back to the Ikebukuro tunnel ley line, which doesn't spawn White Rider. So when I walked into Asakusa, White Rider was there, and I had to fight White Rider in order to be able to do something. Guess you the second cap before reaching Asakusa. Yep. That and I was like spending all my time at the Ginza underpass.
Containing Void Fire, Fire Drain, and Magma Axis. And Nirvana is nothing to sneeze at either, giving us Divine Shot, the strongest physical skill we have access to until the mid to late game. But there's also now a third option, Gase. For those unaware, Gase is typically obtained by completing Puzzle Boy, a minigame that takes around 3 hours to complete.
What's up?
Without a guide.
He just
or
shows
an
up. Yeah, he
hour
just shows
wait.
up in most places.
There are
yeah.
no checkpoints either, so you have to do the entire thing in one shot or start over. Literally everyone hates Puzzle Boy. So, mercifully, Zambero allowed Gase to be purchased in the Asakasa junk shop for 25,000 Maka on normal mode or 50,000 on hard, since hard mode only doubles shop prices now instead of tripling them. We beat Puzzle Boy anyway though because Mama didn't raise no chickens. Anyway, so Fujimimi won't talk to us anymore, but we hear through the grapevine that Kawa is keeping the game champion Diablo.
It's so ass. It's so bad. It's so bad.
Yeah.
That joke doesn't land. How do you mean? Your mom does in fact raise. Pumpkin made the same joke.
What joke?
My mom does in fact raise chickens.
Oh, yeah, she does. We've seen them and taken.
But I wasn't about to move forward on the obelisk while Hellbiker still lived, much less Fuki and Suiki. Those are chump fights. How do I expect to take the Moirai sisters if I can't even kill those losers? But I couldn't just start taking skills willy-nilly.
Does that mean you're the...
Look at all those chickens.
No, I'm not. Funny as that would be, we didn't start getting chickens until I was already a teenager.
Remember, any skill I pass on
Like
or throw
old
away is
teenager.
gone forever. And I knew the Moirai sisters were going to require a very specific set of skills. I needed a plan. I needed a route. So I slept on it and routed my path through the Onis and through to the Moirai sisters. I decided to start with Suiki. I came in at level 47 with Death Touch,
The Moirai's are gonna be easy as hell, aren't they?
Hell Thrust, Hellfire,
they weren't-
Anti-Ice, and also Key Blast for random encounters, because 50% crit rate is enough to cheese most fights. This, alongside Kamuto, allowed me to resist everything Suiki had. Combined with the +2 to defense from Luster Candies and Fog Breath allowing us to go +2, -2 on evasion and accuracy,
Well, to
makes
actually commit to-
Suiki
it
pretty
saves money.
consistent. And Hellfire and Death Touch Gaming make him completely controllable. Up next, I actually made use of a consistent grind well I found.
Gase isn't even
See,
that.
the full moon encounter
It's healing
needed to
items.
throw tunnels is a Sarasvati that likes to spam extremely hard-hitting force attacks. However, that is the only thing she does. So if we come in with Hifumi, we can completely shut her down. This obviously helps if you find yourself about to get into a full moon fight, since you can just toss on Hifumi for a second. But how do we farm this? Well, to understand that, we need to understand how the panic meter works. Every time you come out of a random encounter, the game rolls randomly to determine how long it'll be until the next
Sad you
encounter,
didn't include a panic.
ranging anywhere from around 60 seconds of uninterrupted walking
Fun
to
fact,
before the fight music
what's
can
up?
even fade out. This is indicated by the color of the gauge, as it goes from yellow to red. However, this can be manipulated in two ways. The first is via save rooms and load zones. If you leave the map or enter a save room, the game re-rolls
Oh
the
no, she
encounter
still
type.
is.
The
If
second
she hits
is
you,
by entering an
if,
area
you
where
have
random
a force
encounters
weakness and she
do
hits
not
it, and she
trigger,
gets an extra press stone,
indicated by the
she'll
meter
spam
blue.
Dragon Eye for the rest
If
of the
you're
time.
in a
and you'll be
blue
soft
zone,
locked.
the timer does not reset, but is instead paused.
Force.
If it was orange when you enter
Oh,
the
was it
blue
Force
zone,
Repel?
it'll be orange when you come back,
Oh, okay.
unless you do something to cause a reroll. This is what we want.
That's still
After our
really
encounter with
sucks.
Sarasvati,
Yeah.
run around until the meter is nice and red, just before a random encounter would
Thought it was
actually
a pack.
trigger.
Who
At
knows
which
what it
point,
is?
Run upstairs into the subway. From here, run around until the
someone
meter
go
is
test
full,
it.
then head back downstairs. An encounter will trigger, and the
We'll just
full
look up
moon
that one video.
guarantees it'll be Sarasvati, who will get stonewalled by Hifumi for free experience. Rinse and repeat until you're the level you want. Now with a perfect EXP farm, we drop Hellfire and Anti-Ice.
We know what it's
War
not,
Cry, and
right?
Holy Force off of Hifumi. This, combined with Kamuto, allows us to all but stonewall Fuki, as any damage he does to us with physical attacks is healed off with Death Touch Gaming. Sadly, Kinky proved to be much too difficult, as his strategy is much more fine-tuned. He has two actions and always does the same thing every round with them. The first action is a buff or debuff.
Lemons.
Tarukaja, Rakukaja, Tarunda, Rakunda, or Dekunda if you have him particularly debuffed. He follows us up with a physical attack,
Friday.
which means we have
What
to
about one of
micromanage
the
healing
map? I kinda
ourselves
think they
along with
might have.
keeping the buff state of the fight within reasonable bounds, or else the fight will spiral out of control. There is, however, a pretty easy solution to this fight, but I hadn't realized it yet, so we'll come back to this later. However, now significantly easier was Hellbiker.
I love
As
Case
we now
File.
have Void Force as a passive, we could now run whatever Magatama we wanted without worrying about Hell Exhaust kicking our ass.
Kinky.
Given
Not
he still does no
kinky.
small amount of damage
Kinky.
from physical attacks, so I ran Kamuto for physical resistance. This did mean we were still vulnerable to Skull
Believe it or not,
debuffing our physical
Japanese
attack, but
different
since
language.
Death Touch Gaming had all but replaced my basic attack at this point,
Also, the
I
Hellbiker
didn't
sounds
really
so
care,
cool
and we were able to
in
finally take down the Ghost
HD
Rider.
remake.
He does.
Before
Like, oh my
taking out the
God,
second
that's
Kalpa, I wanted to at least clear most of the obelisk. So I elected to start
You
my
know.
trek up the tower.
It's
This
fun to
dungeon isn't
poke
too
fun at.
hard, admittedly. Void Force gets a lot of mileage here, and Key Blast will take down the rest. The main puzzles of this area involve manipulating the moon's phases to your
BGM
winds
choice was
in order
really
to
on
move
point.
blocks
Thank
and
you.
open doors. Some of these puzzles end on a full moon, so keep that in mind so you don't walk yourself into a full moon encounter. Though with that being said, the full moon encounter of this dungeon is a Kurama Tengu, who summons Karasu Tengu as backup, both of which prefer spamming force attacks above anything else. So they shouldn't be
fuck,
too hard
Mary
to take
Kip.
down or even run from,
Oh.
since Hardtype now allows you to run away on hard mode. Though the Kurama Tengu might insult you for
That's
doing
good.
so. That would be funny. Dummy!
Dummy.
Rude. One floor from the final boss, we encounter one final puzzle, and one that I was honestly not expecting to be any kind of issue. In this encounter, we are given one final block puzzle, with 3 separate doors that open at
Dummy.
different points of the moon cycle. Behind each lies one of the Moirai
You're so
sisters,
dumb.
all of whom
Yeah, I basically what that is, just like that Kurama Tengu is different from normal Kurama Tengu who can appear in the wild. It's a different encounter on a different table. So it wasn't given dialogue.
must be beaten in one cycle in order to continue. Clotho and Atropos can be fought on a half moon, and Lachesis must be fought on
That
a
could
full
be
moon.
getting knocked HD.
The
Oh,
solution
that.
isn't too complicated.
I might be
Fight them
stupid,
in
I was on the
order
wrong
Clotho,
platform.
Lachesis, Atropos. But the problem is actually defeating them. Atropos is a bit difficult
lags it
considering
bad.
she has the most damaging options out of the 3, but
The hell?
Shiranui along with Void Force gives
I
you
might not
2
be able to do
nulls and no
multi-stream.
weaknesses, which
After all.
alongside Warcry,
It might
Fog
be
Breath,
because
and Luster
you-
Candies should allow you to take the fight.
That might
Lachesis
be
gains
it.
attack all, which changes nothing for us, but seeing as her only damaging attack is her basic,
I was about to go.
Kamuto should be your go-to here.
Okay.
She has Tarukaja, Rakukaja, and Rakunda,
If
but
you'd
no
rather I
Sekunda or
turn off YouTube.
Sukukaja should allow you to make space with Luster
It's up to
Candies
you.
and Fog Breath. From there, keep yourself buffed
There's not
up and
really
keep
enough
her
space to
debuffed,
sit here
and
with
this
a
should be
mic like
manageable.
this.
Yeah.
Problem
We
here,
need to figure
I
out
shit
how
you
we're
not,
gonna do that in
was
future.
Clotho.
Yeah.
Though she does not have Dakunda or Dekaja, meaning Warcry, Fog Breath, and Luster Candy will be permanent, she has been given a
back in
much
the
more
digital
consistent
space.
strategy.
Alright.
She drops Marin, Karen, and Dia for Stun Needle and Megiddo, and her stats have seen enough of an increase that she still does around 110 with Megiddo and 125 with her basic attack, even with our buffs and debuffs at max.
Clotho is so
Plus,
rough,
she's
man.
still remarkably accurate, so we won't be able to dodge tank this as well as we did the others. But even then, all of that would still be manageable.
Also,
if
hi,
not
Megiddo, what's up?
thing. Her healing. Clotho retains Diorama, and it now heals for 1,000.
Yeah, I can tell, Axel. Yeah.
HP. Mind you, this is with Warcry nerfing her magic by 25%, which does affect healing in Nocturne. So if we didn't have it, she'd be healing for around 1,481. She can do this on every turn whenever she wants. And on top of that, she now has Drain Attack, which means that if she lands her basic, she's
Heal
healing for
spam.
120 HP on hit or 195 on crit, because Drain Attack no longer has a reduced critical rate. Lastly, she still has Mahama, which even though reduced critical rate, 195 on crit, because Drain Attack no longer has a reduced critical rate. Lastly, she still
Where
has
are we getting this
Mahama,
15?
which even though Demi-Fiend has a 50% resistance to
Where are we getting a
death,
15 from?
she's healing for 120 HP on hit or 195 on crit.
Oh, right, that,
So
yeah.
many times, I legitimately didn't feel comfortable going without
Also, by thinking
spell
old, that
immunity
isn't an
from
actual move in
Divine.
Hardtype.
This
True.
fight completely stonewalled me. I simply could not get lucky enough to break through her healing. And while I could have theoretically stalled her out of MP, it would have taken an eternity. And I wanted to avoid MP stall strategies unless they were absolutely necessary. Defeated by what was meant to be a warm-up fight, I retreated in shame, going to the second Kalpa. Amala 2 hasn't changed all that much, though the encounters are now a bit trickier. And if you're wondering what the full moon encounters
I can't read.
are... No! What the fuck are you doing here?
Oh yeah.
The first Kalpa features a refight with Matador.
Megidoladyne, funny.
Two different ones. Throughout the bulk of the second Kalpa, you'll fight Hellbiker, but in the Cursed
Trumpeter
Corridor,
and Metatron
you'll
was
fight
saying that.
Sojo. And would you believe me if I told you that they're usually more difficult than their actual fights? You'll want a healthy supply of smoke balls, because unless your kit still resembles what you used to fight the Fiend the first time, you most likely do not have the ability to handle this full moon encounter. Thankfully, we still had our Hellbiker kit, so when he showed up, the fight was essentially just a slower version of what we just did. But I still don't recommend it. Regardless, at the bottom of the Kalpa, we get some exposition and release the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse. From this point on, White Rider will spawn in front of any terminal except Shinjuku Medical, the Ginza Underpass,
Have a nice death.
or the Labyrinth of Amala. Thankfully, we can prepare for White Rider at the same time as we prepare for the Moirai sisters. I determined that the main thing keeping me from beating Clotho was a skill issue, which is to say that my stats were too low. So I began abusing the lucky ticket system for something else. The white box either contains a useless Balm of Rising, or one of the 5 stat boosting incenses, the likelihood of each result changing with the phase of the moon. This allowed me to grind out a significant boost to my stats, which I thought would help me in defeating Clotho. However, to obtain lucky tickets, you need to buy
yeah, that
some.
makes so much sense. True.
The Ikebukuro's shop sells Medusa eyes. This is why we don't need to buy them from Rag's Jewelry in Ginza. You can literally just buy them for fairly cheap in Ikebukuro. And White Rider opens by summoning 2 virtues, which are weak to death element. Since Medusa eyes just mimic the skill Stone Gaze,
looking cool, Nocturne, thank you for the follow.
The effect is guaranteed. This allows me to completely incapacitate the virtues before the fight even begins, before following it up with a Fog Breath and a War Cry. Since White Rider has Dekaja and Nakakunda, these effects are permanent. He will never use God.
Was the 25 skill lock something you considered from the beginning or an oh shit moment later? It was an oh shit moment at the time, but the ticker was something that I did just like, this is a cool way to convey this. Medusa, that'd be 65 times 1.5. Isn't it doubled? Like, I thought it was doubled at the time. I'm not sure what the math of that would be.
God's bow on Demi-Fiend, so Gehenna completely stonewalls him. He can barely outdamage Death Touch Gaming if he goes for 2 basic attacks, and he prefers to go for
I guess it'd be
permanents,
97.5 then.
attack in the game, which Gehenna
See, fuck
just
you messing on this
shuts
Demi-Fiend
down.
stat page.
I
Yeah.
expected Red Rider to be more difficult, but honestly, it was easier than I expected. Red Rider has Bolt Storm, Wind Cutter, and a unique skill called Terror Blade that hits 3 to 5 times on random targets with a 30% panic chance. He also summons 2 powers as backup to reinforce him with Tarukaja and Guillotine. However, the powers, just like the virtues before them, are also weak to death.
Hot take? Oh
So
no.
Medusa Eye strategy still incapacitates.
Scare Blade.
And Terror Blade isn't as scary as you think.
Easier hard type solo than regular solo?
Random
Yeah.
target skills
Kinda.
only hit 1 to 2 times if there was only 1 target on the other
That's a
team.
Medusa Eye.
This means Terror Blade is either slightly weaker than a basic attack if it hits once, or around twice as strong. This puts the average in our favor, since most enemies have much scarier options than this
Solo
fighter.
moment.
And lastly, while Red Rider has Dekunda, he lacks Dekaja, allowing us to freely luster up to a big fat +2 to all stats. While Terror Blade can take half of our HP off of us if it double procs, our
Hell, my
+2
weapon
to
being a joke to an
evasion
actual
is not
threat.
guaranteed to
Kinda,
hit.
yeah.
And our +2 to damage means Death Touch Gaming will heal off.
Terror Blade never hit
all
3
of the
times on you?
damage before we
No,
can do
no, it
anything
can't.
about it.
It literally can't.
In
Yeah.
addition, critical hits don't matter for him, since any flashing press turns would be used by the powers, who are a bit stoned out of their minds right now. We also still null force, so Wind Cutter effectively ends his turn instantly, and Bolt Storm doesn't do much more damage than Terror Blade. I do recommend using Iomante over a physical resisting Magatama for once, since if we ever get hit by panic, we effectively lose immediately. But if Red Rider allows you to set up, this fight becomes trivial. I was fit to keep my fiend killing streak going by killing Black
Luster,
but
straight
he
up
only
lustin'.
spawns after we take care
Who
of
up
the Moirai
lustin'?
sisters in the obelisk. So we have to go back. At this point, we were more than prepared. Rigging the lucky ticket lottery gave us insane stat line for only being level 55.
If villains can find the same monster drastically different and easier. Yeah.
This, alongside Divine Shot over Health Rust, allows us to just barely eke out a win on Clotho, which allows us to take Lachesis and Atropos to the cleaners. This brings us to what is typically one of the hardest fights in the run. Clotho, Lachesis, and Atropos at the same time. Their roles are the same as their individual fights. Clotho heals, Lachesis buffs, and Atropos spams spells. While Atropos is the only one dealing actual damage, she's the least threatening. If you have two...
Fun fact, I wasn't actually intending to use, Whoa! I wasn't intending to use, what the fuck is the name of it? Roland's theme here from, Runa. I was just straight up not planning to do that. Yo! Thank you, Shadowcoin. And congratulations to Dawkins Sun and Ringo Wah. My model freaked out. But yeah, no, initially I was using Battle Bounce and Roll here. From S55 Vengeance. But for whatever reason, that singular song is copyrighted in the YouTube algorithm.
And a Magatama to
So,
get third,
I just
she'll only be able to do damage with one
gutted it and
element,
replaced it
which is
with
completely
Bounce and Roll.
I've
With
recommended
Roland.
Fire and Void Force, and using the Miasma Magatama for Void Ice, as I noticed she tends to use Electric the least. No, your main concern here is getting damage to stick. Typically, you want to drop Clotho first.
Project
since
Moon
her
music.
healing
I
will
do
move
love
with
some music
progress,
Project
and
Moon.
Lachesis' magic buffs will increase
3-hour video on the
healing.
bottom equipped, I've been formed and
Once one of
traumatized.
them gets low enough, Clotho will start healing with Media. They'll even get up to Mediarama if they get particularly low. Plus,
what song's copyrighted? Bounce and Roll.
while Atropos is definitely the main damage dealer,
Bounce and Roll
Clotho
from
is
Vengeance.
plenty capable of dealing damage using Megiddo. But after a while of watching them, I noticed something about their AI. See, Clotho is a bit selfish. If she's low on HP, she'll start spamming heals ASAP. But Lachesis, she can wait a little while. Now, she'll still start healing if they get in real danger, but I saw that small bit of extra time as an opening. Thus, I began firing off divine shots, really getting a feel for when Clotho decided her sisters needed healing, which I felt like was around 2,000 damage. So I waited until she was just below 2,000 damage taken, and I let loose a focus boosted divine shot for a 2,000 damage crit, followed by 500 more.
Get bonked.
Sadly, this just barely wasn't enough, but Clotho didn't have any magic buffs, so her Mediarama only healed for around 600. I knew I had a shot, so I took a risk and fired again.
Gave you an inch, you took
Alright.
a mile.
Just swing again. Swing again. 769. Swing again. Oh, we got one. We got one. Okay, wait. With Lachesis down, the dynamic
got
of the
it.
fight swings in your favor. Atropos and Clotho can't control your buffs, which means we can now set up freely with Luster Candies. And while
Should
Clotho
keep
does
blasted?
have Dakunda,
Like this
she
one
doesn't
was
like to
absurd.
spam it.
It wasn't-
we
I
can
wasn't
even
getting the
get away
damage
with
I
buffing
needed.
them with War Cry and Fog Breath as well. Of course, Clotho's healing is still a problem, and she's not going to let it go down very easily. But once you luster up, even if she does heal it off with Mediarama, you'll be doing around 1,400 damage
Anyway,
per shot,
I started
which
blasting.
means enough focus boosted crits will put her down. And while this is definitely a luck check, at this point in the fight, we don't have to worry about dying. So we can keep rolling those dice, healing up with Death Touch if we don't roll any 7s. Eventually, the dice will roll in our favor, and we can tap the fight in without any effort, securing the Jed Magatama. One of the hardest fights in the run, and it didn't even take me an hour and a half. Red Rider, a fight I had to take late game last time, and it was a pushover. Is this how this is supposed to feel? The Demi-Fiend should feel powerful. I feel powerful. With this power, I can crush them all. I can tear this game asunder. I can...
Get put back in my fucking place.
Okay, that's on me, sorry. Anyway, Will Turner wants us to go check up on Yarly, so we shove off back into Amala to see if we can't find him. The encounters here aren't too scary at this point. What Death
Virgil
Touch gaming
moment.
can't get us through, Fog Breath and Key Blast are more than capable of taking down. At the end of
Never
this
think you've
area,
won
we
till you
fight the
win.
Spectre once again,
Yeah.
who has a new strategy. He opens with all 6 of himself and has the power to cast Megiddo for a lot of damage. However, he lacks the MP to use it, so he'll attempt to use Mana Drain to steal yours. Of course, this requires you to have
The Black
MP.
Rider video? Yeah,
If you
I
waste all
have.
your MP beforehand, you can force Spectre to spam his basic attack, which does very little damage once you luster up the +2 defense. This also has the side effect of making Bite and Blast nearly 100% accurate. On the other side of this encounter, we find Gnarly who... Yo, you want to explain what you were saying back in Kabukicho?
The Amala drum showed me everything. Every version of this game. No
Gnarly
buffs,
gave such a
no
good
demons,
performance
no
here.
Demi-Fiend, no Magatama. I've seen them all. Every run, it just keeps repeating with different people. I can see every challenge, every script.
So, what are you gonna do about it?
I'm going to remove Shin Megami.
Fun fact, actually, there was a line cut here, where Gnarly said, I can see you writing the script right now, and it was going to pan back to me personally writing the script, but I couldn't. I tried finding a way to do that, and I couldn't get it working well.
Tensei Nocturne from existence. That way, we can all move on. We can all be free. Do you understand?
Okay, but can I beat it first?
That is the explicit thing I am trying to stop.
So anyway, coming back to Ginza.
Hey, don't cut away from me.
Someone doesn't watch enough Kid Icarus. I need to take some notes from Kid Icarus, maybe. I also I love Gnarly's delivery on that line, just like that. I see this as Gnarly being like, I'm sick of not moving on to other games. I don't know if Gnarly actually feels this way or not. I assume not. And that just makes it just like I appreciate the fact that he was cool doing this.
Meet up with Hikawa, who
I figured out what I'm doing wrong, Demi-Fiend.
Oh god, what now?
In order to be a
do this
Shin
walk
Megami
stream right
Tensei
away.
protagonist,
I
need to betray my
kind
friends,
of
like
it was
you
kind of
say.
improv,
Right,
but
okay.
And my issue is, I don't have any fucking friends.
I thought it'd be fun to do something like this. Just talk about stuff like this. I can see you react to your own video on stream. Oh fuck! No.
Stop it.
It was. This was not that far planned. This was not that far planned ahead.
Hikawa, you're pitiful.
Wesker,
Anyway,
you're
this unlocks
pitiful.
Mara, and sadly, Hardtype isn't on the HD version yet, so this cutscene contains 90% less dick jokes. So allow me.
Honestly, cramming the penis jokes into this was the best thing the Hardtype
Mara has
did.
a few choices for moves. He'll either try and status you with Marin Karen or Makajamin, or he'll
The
go
delivery,
raw with Holocaust or Hades Blast.
That delivery. Okay, the actual line that I gave Trade was just, "I don't have any friends." Trade improvised that line. And it was the only take he gave me because he was that confident in it. And I'm just like, yeah, like, sometimes the actors are, sometimes the talent knows what the answer is more than you do. Only take he gave you? Based. And he was right. One of my favorite things that Trey did for a voice acting thing was Heat. Was for Heat in DDS2. He did give me the actual line that I asked for. But "It's garbage day, motherfuckers" was actually improv. And I'm like, shit, if I would have wrote that had I thought of it.
So, naturally, you'll want to wear protection, but Kamuto might not be enough, as he'll be able to poke holes in your defense with Dismal Tune, which does over 400 damage unmitigated. Somehow, we actually take less of a pounding from physical attacks than Dismal Tune,
yeah.
so I recommend Jed to no curse. However, more concerning is Mara's gimmick. With only 4,500 HP, Mara might not have as much health as the Moirai sisters or the fiends, but what he lacks in bulk, he makes up for in stamina. If Mara takes any damage, he'll open the turn with Dear Rahim, ensuring he can go for a long time.
But he does?
You typically have two ways
Why?
to deal with this. Option 1 is to try and last longer than him and stay alive until he mills his 3000 MP. However, that's no longer an option, as Zambero decided to give the long schlong 50,000 MP. This is more MP than literally any demon in the game whose name is not Lucifer. Round 2, 3, or 4, no matter what time.
Also, I had to correct base game. Because it's actually a very important plot point that it's not this game.
Time of day it is, Mara's ready to go.
Dicks!
This only leaves option 2, kill him in one turn. And right now, I'm just not packing enough heat. A focus boosted divine shot deals roughly 2,000 damage on a critical hit at +2.
We'll get to
and I
that
don't
later.
have access to anything with a bit more girth. However, that's when I remembered something from Deus's Nocturne Demonless video.
Shout out!
Once Mara loses enough HP, he will hit a dialogue trigger. This causes him to start his turn with Dismal Tune before going into Dear Rahin. He will only do this once, so if we null Dismal Tune, we have one
You
turn
threw him out.
where we can prevent him from healing.
True.
This means we don't need to one-shot him, we can actually two-shot him. 2 focus-boosted critical divine shots will deal over 4,000 damage, which leaves him with less than 500 HP, enough for a normal divine shot to take the kill. And with divine shot having a 30% crit rate, a back-to-back crit would be a 9% chance, which seemed possible. So, I strapped in, got my divine shot nice and big, and retried the fight over and over until I was able to get that 9% double crit. From there, one more divine shot was enough to make Mara submit, unlocking the Moose Spell Magatama. Sayonara, shithead!
Got him.
With my monetization thoroughly gone, I decided
It somehow isn't gone, I don't know how.
to attempt Black Rider again, and had a bit of an epiphany. So the legions cannot be
The
stopped, as
mod
they
developer bumped up all the MP by like... No, actually. No. Actually. Most of the MP is like relatively normal values. Most of the MP is like relatively normal. It was literally just so that you couldn't do one of the 2 main strategies for stalling out Mara. That was a change made with intent for Mara specifically. How long did it take the script? Surprisingly not long.
Death. However, mute is not death. So even though they can't be completely incapacitated, their heavy
What's
preference for
Metatron's
using their
accused?
skills
Get
makes
fucked.
mute a de facto
Shithead looks inside
In the end,
his
I was
dick.
really just going about this the wrong way, and Black Rider goes down the first time I tried it with this strategy. It was at this point I started reaching encounters that I consider to be hard
Yes.
walls. Up first is Pale Rider. Unlike every Rider prior to this one, Pale Rider summons 2 lowers as backup, and they are immune to any ailments we'd actually like to use. They can
Did you actually mute the
technically hit
legions?
my mind
Is that 8% resist? I don't believe so.
element ailments like Charm, but mind ailments are all temporary and they resist mind anyway. So unfortunately, we actually need to fight
Let me
this
double
one.
check.
And good God, do I not like fighting this one. Pale Rider himself is fairly identical to his typical kit, although he did swap Void Ice for Resist Ice and Force Repel. The big issue
I
is,
see
as
resist to
always,
ailments.
the Loas. On the plus side, they're not as toxic as usual, dropping Stone Gaze
Really cool to see the later fights. Gratified the channel for the Aries will vid. Hell yeah. Thank you so much, Game Over Guy.
Pale Rider, since in the base game, Pale Rider very specifically heals off of damage dealt via Last Resort.
Metatron's just die,
However,
fucker.
this actually makes the fight more difficult to control, since we have to cover more elements than we have access to right now. We need to handle Physical to lower the damage from Pale Rider's Blight and the Loa's Venom Bite, Ice to cover Pale Rider's Mabufudine, and Fire to cover the Loa's Miragidine. In addition, Pale Rider still has 2 instant kills. The Loas have Dormina and will occasionally try to put you to sleep. If Pale Rider starts a turn while you're asleep, he'll cast Eternal Rest, instantly killing all sleeping targets. In addition, he also has Pestilence, a medium almighty attack that instant kills all poisoned targets. This makes Blight and Venom Bite even more scary, as if they get a lucky proc and Pale Rider has a turn, he can end the fight whenever he wants. I might have been able to take this guy, but for the time being, I decided to try something else and maybe try and get a bit stronger. Unfortunately, with the first 3 riders dead, that opens up the 3rd Kalpa. And with it, an old friend.
Afternoon, kid. You ever play Australian murder tag?
Okay, I know this video has been full of references to the first Nocturne run, but that's a bit obscure.
I was just saying shit back in 2020, man.
I'm alive.
That didn't shit even make fucking sense.
I have no idea how Atlas crafted such a good chase sequence.
Is
but
it
man,
cursed? I
this
believe
one
so.
Still finds a way to get me. Every time you think you figured out how way to sneak by Dante, he manages to sneak one in on you. Regardless, the chase sequence isn't all that eventful if you know what you're doing. Once you're done, heal up and walk into the true fight. The Dante rematch opens with Dante
It's
having
cursed?
everything
Okay, I thought
he
so.
had last fight at his disposal. In case you've forgotten, that's a guaranteed hit and 30% panic in bullet time, the extremely hard-hitting Rebellion,
I'm alive.
Slow and Provoke, and E&I. However,
Has Dante ever
after you
caught through a
deal
wall?
enough damage,
I don't believe
Dante
so.
will start using 2 new moves. Round Trip, a Maziodyne that lowers evasion by 1 stage, and Whirlwind, a Mazandyne that is meant to lower accuracy by 1 stage, but is bugged, so it's just a meaty force hit. And if you get him low enough, he'll break out Showtime, which mercifully is still just a flavored Megidolon. I half expected Zambero to make this a debilitate. Now, evasion getting lowered isn't the worst thing in the world. It's not like Dante would be missing you anyway. But his physical attacks were still dealing enough damage that I decided to hold off until I could either bring Void Electric as a skill, or pick up Avenge or Retaliate. With little else to do, we make our way to Yoyogi Park, making sure to note the Collector Mannequin's new shop as he sells fairly decent items.
Oh, yeah.
Along with the Sophia, Vimana, and Kamarogi Magatamas, all of which we'll want at some point. Once we get to Yoyogi, we're stuck
Shut up, was a
with
heat-
the
oh,
fairies that
God.
give us the runaround. Thankfully, with our high-power toolkit consisting mostly of Death Touch, Divine Shot, and nothing else,
Is bug,
most
but
of
last was a
Yoyogi's
feature at
random
this point.
encounters are manageable, though I do recommend keeping an eye on the moon. This area's full moon is a Satanta that takes the first turn, attacks, leaves, and then automatically reinforces with Kukulane. A fantastic bit of flavor considering they're canonically the same person, but this encounter is crazy. Kukulane will cast Dragon Eye every single turn, before making heavy use of Taunt, Sukukaja, Xandine, and a
Involves
number of
mid-battle.
powerful physical attacks. Even physical resistance isn't enough to face tank the Hound of Kalad. If he shows up, throw out a smoke ball if you have one, because you don't want to get stuck in this fight. Finally, we reach Sakahagi at the end of Yoyogi Park, who
You dodged with it. I don't
forgot to
know,
write
actually.
into the script again. Makala miraculously has no changes
I'm not sure.
whatsoever aside from his HP, which has gone from 4,000 to 10,000. He repels physical innately, and while normally that would mean we would need to take some form of magic spell to blast through his health, here we have Death Touch Gaming. And when it lacks in
I hope
speed,
Saphir adds
it's
gay
up for
bold.
in
I think he
Makala
probably
is
will.
barely able to attack on meaningful damage. This doesn't make the fight a pushover though. He still has a large number of status dealing abilities, including Panic Eye for Panic, Binding Cry for Bind, and Toxic Cloud to deal curse-based damage with a poison chance. Make sure you buff to +2 at some point during this fight. Take this slow and keep an eye on your health, and eventually Makala will go down. But sadly, that's not the end of the fight.
It's this guy!
You're one hell of a monster. I used all that Magatsuhi to summon that demon.
Panic was not Panic Eye? Did I say Panic Eye?
Enough of this. Anyone who gets in my way dies.
Sakahagi has a few new tools at his disposal. He now has the MP to use his all-target elemental attacks 4 times, so you'll have to deal with him hitting you with 2 elemental spells on his first 2 turns. If you really want to min-max
These
this,
side
you
gives me
could come in
PTSD.
with 4 magic mirrors to parry them,
Ah,
but it's
frick.
not really necessary. The real issue is what happens after. Once he runs out of MP, he'll attempt to cast Megidolon unsuccessfully before pivoting to exclusively basic attacks.
Demi-Fiend Light was a surprise?
Hardtype
Yeah.
has given him nearly every basic attack buff in the game. Attack All allows him to hit our entire party, which thankfully doesn't affect us. Might increases his crit rate, and instead of simply tripling it to 12%,
But named Demi-Fiend,
it
that's
goes up to
adorable.
30%, and he even has Pierce, which allows him to ignore our physical resistance. Which, fun fact, now also applies to his magic attacks. So if you came in with an immunity to an element, no you didn't. We can only thank Zambero for not giving him Drain Attack, because otherwise this might have been impossible. Oh, and did I mention this mod gives him an additional 20,000 health? Thankfully, you get the first turn after Sakahagi comes out.
This fucker.
So I recommend using it to Fog Breath him. You should already be at +2 evasion from the Makala fight, so putting him at -2 accuracy is important. From there, use Death Touch to stay alive until he misses. then hit him with Warcry. You should now be able to safely whittle him down with Death Touch, although if he ever misses again, you can focus up and
more speed than the sun. He does.
However you do it, slowly whittle him away, and Sakahagi will go down same as before.
Motherfucker who has HP.
Come on. Yeah! Fuck! How can I lose to a guy like this? You knocked your last turn. It's at this point we get my favorite cutscene in the game, where Oberon mentions how he saw Deus come here and escape from Sakahagi before we took him down. Before realizing that he, A, has no way to know we know who Deus is, and B, has no way to know we would care what he's doing. Before realizing what he just told us was completely irrelevant to what was happening and fucking off.
I love this scene so much.
Has literally no way to tell you to go to Ikebukuro, so they just have to have Oberon hold up a sign that tells us that's where the plot is. So I guess we should probably listen and go check
You've knocked your last turn. Daze did such a good laugh there.
Alright, bad time. We'll talk to him later. Speaking of friends, hey, Game Champ, how's it going?
So you're telling me all I need to do is summon demons to fight for me, and then I can reshape the entire world?
I mean, that's what everyone else is doing, so whatever floats your boat.
Alright, let me try.
I adored how well this scene came out.
Ooh, looking cool, Joker.
Fool who walks without demons. Your choice will have you walk a path of
Also, thank you for the
pain
sub.
and torment. Have you what it takes to put yourself to the grindstone?
Yes?
Have you the resolve to bend yourself until you break?
Yeah, sure, Miss Warshaw.
Good. Is this normal for these games?
Shockingly so. Anyway, this unlocks the fight against Black.
I love shockingly so.
Still pretty easy. We still have Void Ice from the Moirai sisters, so coming up with Null Death off of Anathema makes us completely immune to everything Black Frost has except for Berserk, which can only hit us for half of our health at most. Or rather, it would, except Hardtype swaps out
Game
the
Champ.
for Moirai.
The Game Champ was super cool.
Which can consistently do more than half of our health, even at +2 defense and -2 attack. Thankfully, Null Ice and Death should give you enough space to get those buffs up fairly easily. And he prefers his Ice and Death moves, so you should be able to keep yourself alive.
Who's top right hybrid? That was Chaos Hero from SMT1.
Giving us the power of Satan. Now, Hijiri decides that he's going to get into the race for world creation, but the second he does,
The idea of Alma?
Moirai
Yeah,
just
thank
goes,
God they got
"Nope,"
rid of that.
and yeets him into Amala. Unable to do anything to the other bosses we're stuck on, we hop in and find Yarly just chilling in Amala.
Fuck, what are you doing here?
Yarly asks us to help him clear out the nearby Amala temples.
A lot of people have pointed out that that's probably one of the first times, that for a lot of people, that's the first time they've ever heard Gnarly swear, which is very funny.
I'll help a brother
She
out.
did such a good
But
job.
On the way out, we get stopped by our old Amala friend, the Spectre. Now, Spectre 3 is just here to kill itself at you. It legitimately has no other options but basic attack and last resort. This, thankfully, means they have no way to control buff and debuff state, but they're still accurate enough to be an issue, and they have too much health to be killed off quickly. In addition, once you kill a Spectre,
Is
the
she a
next
second
turn,
channel?
one
That
of the
makes sense.
remaining Spectres will usually use Gathering to summon another. Now, I had heard that this was time-based, and I was in a comfortable enough position that I could survive for however long I needed. So I buffed up and used healing items in Death Touch Gaming to stall for over 100 turns. So I kind of doubt it's actually time-based. However, my stream chat suggested that it might actually be
Gotta
kill
cancel
based.
Gnarly for being
So I
unwholesome.
upgraded
Oh
Ki
no.
Blast to Hades Blast, which is awesome because my joke still works, and after a few more turns of mindless slaughter, I managed to make the Spectres just decide to blow themselves up after 10 Spectres go down. With this, we arrive at the Amala temples, with myself and Gnarly having a common goal. He wants to awaken his god, I want more bosses to kill. Win-win. But before we do that, I decided that Kinki had lived for too goddamn long. Unfortunately, he was still too powerful. The issue really comes down to the fact that he is consistently buffing with Tarukaja and Vakukaja, while also nerfing our defense with Vakunda. Kinki requires us to maintain buff state, healing, and damage, and that's simply too much with the damage he's dealing. But that's when I realized Kinki has no options that are not physical. Meaning if we had enough attack mirrors, we could literally make him defeat himself. I'm gonna be real. When I write these scripts, I like to maintain an air of, oh, then I did this, and then I did this. Hooray, because
Just so,
that's what makes
yeah,
no
right?
sense narratively. But for this, I've been trying Kinky on and off since I beat Suiki and Fuki.
I'm gonna be right back after
Nowhere
P real quick.
every time.
I'm
Do you know how
just gonna let the game
embarrassing it is
run.
to be balls deep into Nocturne's story and getting
I will
walled by
return.
this fuck.
But
So you know what?
like,
I take what win I can.
we're
I
moving
went
slow.
And grinded up a shitload of attack mirrors, which is to say I killed the enemies that dropped the gems that let me buy attack mirrors from
So I will return.
and soft reset until I got what I wanted, so I could keep my level as low as possible, and then with my stock ready, motherfucker has 6k HP, right? Yep. The world needs you more than me. From there, we reach the final Oni in the chain, Ongyoki.
Foul sorcerer, how dare you cast me through time with your fell magics?
Wait, huh? What?
There we go.
What you've done to
I
me,
will return.
I can't forgive.
Whatever that was about, Ongyoki is one of the few fights that is different less in terms of HP and more in terms of kit. He only gains an extra 1400 HP, going up to 6900, nice, but has subbed out Tarukaja for Debilitate, and Tsukukaja for Megiddo. This gives Ongyoki a lot more to do and makes him significantly more of a threat. While the overall gimmick of him creating replicas that can only be identified under the full moon is the same, the threat those guys pose is significantly greater, due to how much harder they hit and how much more they have at their disposal. Not to mention, Ongyoki was held back by his physical skills in the original game. In base Nocturne, Dark Sword and Stasis Blade both had a high 40% crit rate and status affliction rate, but only a 60% chance to actually hit. In Hardtype, these moves have been buffed dramatically, gaining 5% additional crit rate and going up to 92% accuracy. Even Mudun is now scary. Even if you're doing well, one of the Ongyokis can just scam a win. On my winning attempt, I elected to grab Void Death and Retaliate, giving us an above average chance to respond to Ongyoki's many physical attacks by deleting one copy if it's a copy, or all copies if it's the real one, while also eating turns if they go for Mudu. And with this, I was just barely able to sneak out a win. There we go! Okay! Thank God! Fuck! Except not really. See, Void Death was a bit of an impulse grab, and I knew I'd probably want it for Beelzebub and his 100% guaranteed death-based instant kill. So, satisfied for the time being with beating Ongyoki, in theory, I reloaded to a point before I grabbed Void Death, and moved on back to the Amala temples. There are 3 bosses here for us to tackle: Albion, Asiel, and Scotty. Up first, we took on Albion, who summons 4 mini-me's as backup. Each of the small fries have color-coded affinities. Red repels fire and is weak to ice, yellow repels electric and is weak to force, etc. The only real change here, aside from Albion now having 10,000 HP and the Zoa having 4,500, is that Albion himself is now immune to physical, which makes this fight take slightly longer, but not all that much. The gimmick of this fight is that if Albion goes down, the Zoa will use their turn to revive him, and if all the Zoas go down, Albion will use his turn to revive them. However, since Albion only does this if all the Zoa are dead, we just need to make sure that the last Zoa goes down at the same time as Albion. I still had Void, Ice, and Force's skills, and came in with Gehenna for Drain Fire, so the only thing that could damage me with spells was the Electric Zoa, so I took him out first using Death Touch. With him gone, I could now spam my Zeo Rocks to hit the green one's weakness without hitting the yellow one's repel. Once green goes down, swap to fire or ice items, then once the last Zoa is within a single hit of death, swap to focusing Albion with Death Touch. Once he's too close to hit again, throw out one final Mabufu Rock, and tap the fight in with whatever item or skill you prefer. This also unlocks the Adama Magatama.
Hello.
A useful electric-based Magatama we'll use later. Up next is Scotty, who has actually seen quite a change for Hardtype.
Hello.
She's gained Drain, Ice as an affinity, and swapped Mazandine for Niflheim, a new Hardtype move that does max ice damage to all targets.
Okay, that was the original Nocturne thing. I've seen it. I've seen it in Hardtype too. I've also seen it in Hardtype. It's in both. There are myriad wait, well, yep, nope. Aguilar was the first skill in the game's like lineup of skills. So if the AI completely shits itself, it'll default to the first skill.
Earthquake has also been buffed to now have a chance to stun, though it still mercifully can't crit unless you're frozen or shocked.
Probably like fuck or whatever.
Yeah. A
Yeah.
bit of change in strategy, but not one we aren't prepared for. See, I made sure to keep Void Ice all the way until this fight, because I knew that they had changed Scotty to have a focus on Ice, and taking Scotty without physical resistance and Void Ice would be a nightmare. I'd been thinking 2 steps ahead for the entire run, but this is when I really started planning things out, calling on all my knowledge of this game so I can make as many right choices as possible. Between my own knowledge and me looking up various resources on Hardtype, I've been able to keep 2 steps ahead of this game for a while. And while it's not been easy, it helped me considerably, and makes this significantly more possible. It does take a couple of goes, mostly because we neglected to cover Thunderclap, and while I would love to take Void Expel, trust me, there's a reason I'm not taking Void Expel. But with a bit of elbow grease, we were able to take down Scotty in a couple of attempts.
Exactly around top of crouch returns? Maybe?
Then we come to Asiel.
Oh, right, because she usually
Asiel
goes
has
for
seen
Earthquake
2
the following
notable
turn, right?
The first is to his unique move, Black Sun. No, I'm not even touching that name. This video's on thin ice as it is. Black Sun now only reduces you to 100 HP. But seeing as the changes of buffs and debuffs prevent us from taking less than 100 damage anyway, 100 HP may as well be 1. Secondly, it now also applies Dekaja, which renders half of the above point moot. But the second change is more insidious. Mana Drain has been replaced with Hellfang. This means that rather than attempting to mill your MP before killing you, Asiel will just try to kill you before killing you. Unfortunately,
Well,
this
let's not
change
it out.
is something
Yes.
very funny to Asiel's kit. By removing Mana Drain, Asiel has lost his only non-physical option. This means, identical to Kinky, Asiel can now be entirely walled by attack mirrors. Also, fun fact, the way repels work in Nocturne, the enemy takes the damage you would have taken. So it's actually better for us to not resist physical for these fights, as it doubles the value of every attack mirror.
Demonetization attack.
With the Amala Temples done, we see Nyarli toss Ajiri into the Kool-Aid, which is fine as he is barely a character. And Nyarli summons his god.
Like the look of my god? He will carry us upon his back to a new land. A land
So
free
nice.
from Shin Megami Tensei Nocturne.
Attack mirror.
I'll call him Noah. Get it? Because he looks like an arc.
I love Goofy video.
So it's true. A reason has been conceived.
We must alert Deus. If he does not act fast, the mannequins will not receive their happy ending.
Oh, Deus is giving the mannequins a happy ending. That's nice. Though, the mannequins are part of Nocturne. After everything I've done,
I had fun with this.
So many bodies at my feet. Can I truly
Also, can you really say Noah's the worst when
Nocturne
Ball Avatar
if the
original
mannequins are
exists?
alive? I said I'd destroy this game, but do I have to kill innocents to... No. I said I gave no fucks about their situation in 2020, and I'm not about to start now. I'm not here to win. I'm here to dominate.
More like
Nothing
Klonoa.
is going to stand in my way. Mifunashiro was filled with angels looking to protect the mannequins, as well as a full moon encounter with Dionysus, who can be walled with void fire or better, so don't worry about him too much. Ironically, the hardest fights here are against the mannequins themselves. But with their weak physical attacks, it's not like they're capable of much.
Oh, they crack
Plus,
it up?
they're
Yeah.
dropping beads, so they're actually pretty worth it for us to kill. With that, there's nothing to stop us from reaching the bottom.
What do you mean? He would never do something like that.
I foresaw it the day I met him.
I was feeling like,
you must put
yeah.
a stop to this madness before he can make his way through. Oh god, he's here already.
Oh, fuck. You're not really trying to stop the mannequin from getting a reason, are you? We can give them an ending. You wouldn't stop that, would you?
Hi, editing Robin. I feel the need to step in because I've completely changed this scene for the sake of my own narrative. So, Chiaki, played by Deus, is here killing all the mannequins, and the angels are on her side. This is the singular
Fun fact,
in the game which actually offers you a decision. If you have enough alignment points towards
I have
Chiaki,
had-
you can side with her, which prompts...
I have had this remix of the song that plays of Butterfly Kiss. I made this remix just for the fuck of it, so I could have something to listen to while I was working. I made it like 3 years ago. Never posted it. And I was just like, I need something to stick here. And I'm like, you know what? Yeah.
A fight against Futomimi. If you side against her or don't have enough points, you fight the Archangels Uriel, Raphael, and Gabriel instead.
Would you guys be interested in me
But for the
posting
sake
that?
of completion, I elected to do both fights, reloading in order to do so. Okay? Okay, cool.
You made a song just for yourself? Yeah, I made a remix just for myself. The official file name is Butterfly Kiss, but that shit is vintage. That is the actual file name on my computer.
No, he's too far gone. Deus, continue your ritual. I shall end this fiend myself. Your hands will not be stained with the blood of another soul.
I forgot I'm okay with it.
Futomimi, like Sakahagi before him, has also seen a dramatic upgrade.
Hang on, I need to...
He's gone from 5,500 HP to 20,000. Dropped Lunge for Fangbreaker, a new hard-type move that lowers your physical attack on hit. Picked up Might for his basic attack, and also swapped Mute Gaze for Biden Blast. That motherfucker stole our move. And since Futomimi gets the first turn, it's entirely possible, if he gets lucky and you don't resist physical, for him to kill you before you even get a turn.
I'll show it off one time. I thought I might be able to stick my pop filter somewhere on my new mic, but I can't.
Changes, and he does have them. He's unfortunately susceptible to one crucial design flaw. Having absolutely nothing but physical attacks.
I love Deadlock.
So for the sake of maximizing damage,
Depose and keep the name.
without resist physical, and we just need to survive the first hit without resistances.
Video volume could go up.
Futomimi, I will carry on your legacy. Robin, for the sake of all the mannequins, I will fight to the end to win their freedom.
Hold that thought. Yatta zo! Hatsuto shita!
Returning to the before timeline, I went back to Ongyoki to finally take him down. However, I still didn't have Void Death, and I was nowhere near fighting the either. So I decided to make use of a different strategy. The Luster Glitch. Recall, if you will, my explanation.
I don't think I'm gonna be able to multi-stream.
The Rock will luster your entire party, and a Mirage Rock will buff the entire enemy party. So someone in my stream chat asked to see what the game would do if I did that in the Ongyoki fight.
I hope so. What? Let's not do that.
The reason for this is a strange interaction with the Luster Glitch and Ongyoki's Replicate. See, all of the Ongyokis are technically the same Ongyoki. Something about an all-target Luster Candy buffing Ongyoki and the Replicates, while the game knows it needs to be deleting said Replicates, causes the game to softlock, with all but the music completely ceasing to function. However, this brings up the obvious next question. What if our attack is single target? Thankfully, we have multiple single target options
I posted it in chat.
The Spyglass is an easy one, but the basic attack also functions for some weird reason. Now, I don't know the exact reason for this, so I'm not going to pretend to, but if we hit a Replicate with the Luster Glitch, the game knows we hit, but also knows that we affected the true Ongyoki as we buffed him. So it banishes every other Ongyoki from reality, including the real one. And while the Replicate can absolutely go into the pattern where he summons more of himself, which does recreate the true Ongyoki, he can also just swing for damage. Which means all we need to do is hit the
What would happen if you did a random target move? Good question.
Through time and space. Who knows where he'll end up? With Ongyoki banished, I have returned to the Pale Rider fight now that I had Retaliate.
Multi-stream could be on a lower bit rate, yeah.
All the difference. Drain Fighter from Gehenna combined with Void Ice gives me coverage on all of the fight's elementals. And while I do still have to deal with physical, Retaliate allows me to drop the skulls while also tacking damage on. This was shockingly all I needed for this fight. My overall game plan was solid enough that I just needed a small amount of extra gas to push me over the edge. With Pale Rider dead, I no longer needed Void Ice. And it was at this point I could finally make a pivot I'd been waiting to make. See, I said I was avoiding taking Dante until I had Void Electric. And we've technically been able to take that for
Looking
quite some
cool,
time,
Joker.
ever since we got the Narukami Magatama from
Ultra Gaming Bros,
But
thank
in
you for the
Hardtype,
follow.
One skill prior to learning Void Electric, we learn a new move. And this move was the single factor that pushed me to holding off on Void Electric until now. Because we've been waiting on this for a while. What could be worth that much, you ask?
I have the power of God.
I'm so happy that looks
I'm
so
sure
good as it
anyone
does.
who's familiar with Nocturne's base game knows how strong Kugel is. Mjolnir is an
That's a
electric
cute
type
emote.
Kugel. Same power, same raw force. I avoided grabbing Void Electric because I knew the second I did, I was also grabbing
Jim's low level
this.
run. Oh
I
shit,
knew
you're
I
right.
was upgrading to grab an
That's the
extra
second time I've
100
invalidated a low
damage
level
to
run.
just
Although the
lay
first one got
people
patched.
out. Sure, I can't focus anymore.
But just look at the power I've gained.
We use this to make our way down to Dante to push his shit in. Death Touch and Beads keep us alive, while Retaliate pushes Dante lower and lower until he reaches his second phase.
Like it's my
At this point,
job.
he swaps to exclusively using Round Trip and Whirlwind. If you suffer any debuffs from E and I,
Joke full
use this
circle.
opportunity
Yeah.
to debuff and heal up. You're basically completely safe during this segment. Once you hit his third phase, Dante adds Showtime to the rotation, so you'll want to kill him sooner rather than later. On the one hand,
Mjolnir is
Showtime
fucking
isn't the
absurd.
scariest thing
It's
in the
so
world.
good.
2 Showtimes leaves us with 35% HP left, which we can easily Death Touch off. However, since E and I, Provoke, and Rebellion are now back in the rotation, Dante now has one-shot potential, and Bullet Time means he can status you into a kill shot. Do not give him any breathing room. Keep the pressure on, and with a bit of luck, Dante goes down.
HG knows like in the
Dante
future?
dead, we
Probably.
head back to Mifunashiro.
What do you mean? He would never do something like that.
I foresaw it the day I met him. Deus, you must put a stop to this madness before he can make his way through.
What the? How did you?
Who said Bites the Dust isn't a skill in this game?
Okay. Okay. So. Hey, Zeph. Can I show them the actual recording of that you gave me for that line? Can I play the actual recording for that line? So when Zeph sends me files, right? He sends me like name of character, like first bit of line, number of takes. I foresaw, oh god, 3 takes. My thanks to you, 3 takes. He gave me 1 take.
Sensei, it's been 5 months since my initial overdose, and I think I'm about to relapse.
Say,
What?
it's been 5 months since my initial overdose, and I think I'm about to relapse.
This will never not be my favorite Persona 4 video ever.
As I said earlier, the Archangel of literal fucking heaven are who you fight if you go against Deus.
And here's that for everybody.
Their kits, but not exactly their strategy. Aside of all of them now having
Had to get the
13,000
character.
HP, Gabriel remains the premier source of damage, though she swaps Holy Wrath and Radiance for Zeodine
I knew I only had 1 shot for the name and thought something was wrong with me. I had to make it count.
and Blight, which actually gives this fight a poison chance. Raphael drops Diarahin for Diorama and Mediarama, probably because Diarahin would be silly on this team, and his Tetracorn is still AoE, in spite of Hardtype changing Tetracorn
C5 I love
to
C5.
single target. So that's fair. And Uriel has picked up the Radiance that Gabriel dropped, while still retaining Prominence and Megiddola. Thankfully, Void Electric locks down most of Gabriel's kit now, and Drain Fire stops Uriel's most damaging option in prominence. However, they lack Dekunda or Dekaja.
Archangel
Meaning
Little.
if they
Yep.
let you luster up and Warcry and Fog
There were
breath them
so many
down,
references to
you
shit like that in
basically
this.
already won. Focus down Raphael
Honestly, one thing I didn't realize I liked so much, I love writing sequel videos.
first to get rid of their healing, and then focus on whichever Archangel you want dead first. I recommend Uriel, but it's totally up to you. From there, Deus evolves into Ball Avatar, and...
I am Bahal Avatar, paragon of virtue, bringer of justice.
Does not get these references.
I will bring about the kingdom.
They're mostly references to the original video.
In honor of those who have lost their lives. The next time I find you, Robin, I will not forgive you.
I'm starting to think I'm the bad guy here. Regardless, with Mifunoshiro completed, the path to the diet building is completed, and with it, the way to Trumpeter.
Is there any chance I could just,
Hell yeah! We could make our way to the diet building right away.
Are we the
but before we
baddies?
do that, I handed off one of my many cheerleaders to die in the mines. After around 7 moon cycles pass, this dude will walk the demon you give to death in order to bust through. I recommend grabbing any 2 chests that aren't the one to your immediate left, as that one contains the Keymon Stone we came here to get. It's useless to the guy, so he gives it to you anyway. From there, head north from the Asakusa tunnels and unseal the temple, revealing my favorite PTSD trip, Bishaman. Bishaman's first fight is actually quite unique now. He swaps from a weakened version of his kit in the second fight to an entirely new one.
Have to kill.
Prominence is dropped for Via Via, a heavy random target force move with a chance to stun. Holy Wrath and Diarahin are dropped for Sukunda, Sukukaja, Taunt, and Deathbound, making him able to nerf your accuracy and defenses while also making him harder to hit.
Bishaman 1 being stronger than Bishaman 2 is hilarious to me in Hardtype. Also, yeah, he had Diarahin in the original. I think he uses it once.
67 to a whopping 33,000. And he swaps his Fire Repel for Force Repel, while also now being neutral to Fire and Ice. He also has Attack All, but we don't exactly
He was one of my drops, thought it was permanently invisible.
He also still has Hasahapa for crit fishing, and Focus to boost his physical attacks to insane levels. All of these things make Bishaman 1 a much more potent combatant, and debatably more difficult than the fight will take later, due to this one not having a weakness.
That's weird.
Deathbound being able to hit once or twice can be scary, so you should always assume it'll hit
Typoed
twice.
into a
lest
slow.
you be caught off
Oh
guard.
no.
Thankfully, he doesn't start using buffs and debuffs until you do enough damage, so you'll have some setup time. So long as he's friendly to your buff state, you can take him down in no time at all.
Kick Bishaman so hard.
Unlocking the
Yeah,
Gundari
never
Magatama.
patched himself back up.
Gundari is hands down the most important Magatama for us in the game. Wind Cutter, Force Trade, and Magic Boost are all fantastic options in Hardtype. However, and I cannot stress this enough, do not take anything off of Gundari unless you know it's safe. With this, we arrive to the penultimate dungeon of the main game, the Diet Building. And we are immediately faced with a problem, oh joy. Surge isn't too different from before. He still has a heavy reliance
love
on
Strange
fire
Journey
attack,
music.
and his basic attack still deals fire damage. However, Gehenna isn't the win button it used to be. He still has Hell Thrust, which has received a slight power bump and a huge accuracy boost. So boosting our evasion won't be enough to dodge cheese him anymore.
I think I just got a bunch of free incenses.
For Warcry, which means it'll be fairly difficult to keep your damage up. However, since he usually won't be doing much damage back to you, Death Touch should still keep you alive.
Maximum IQ,
The first time
yes.
I took this fight, I grabbed Drain Fire as a skill and used physical resistance to make this fight a cakewalk. But then I remembered I might need that skill later as well. So I reloaded and beat the fight again using Gehenna. It'll be a little bit more dangerous without physical resistance, but it's still doable. Mada retains his status as the hardest diet building fight. Intoxicate now deals damage, so we pick up Void Mind off Murakumo because we're going to need it anyway later. This fight requires you to account for so many things. Mada packs an extremely hard-hitting Agidine, alongside
Luck is hard to max out.
Blast, Dekunda, and
Both sides of the
Debilitate.
useful.
And the Pazuzu he summons
I
have
don't
Tentarafu, Air and Needle, which can inflict stone, Wet Wind, and worst of all, Mediarama. Considering he can summon up to 4 of them, we need to do
He left
it
on a channel?
quickly.
Yeah, I don't
But
see why not.
Be too hasty with the murder. If you drop 1, he'll just summon more. The correct option here is to go for Maka Jam rocks. Once muted, this prevents them from healing or doing any real damage to you. This, alongside a lot of lustering
With
up to keep
Mithra being
ourselves
a
able to
thing?
tank the occasional Agidine, makes
Decent
the
point.
fight almost doable, if not for one issue. Mute does not prevent the Pazuzu from using Arid Needle. And while the odds we get stoned by Arid Needle are only 17.5% when accounting for Demi-Fiend's hidden resistance to Expel and Death, the more times we roll
Dick
the
is
dice,
rock
the
solid.
greater the odds they'll come up tails eventually. I kept getting really far, but I was just barely not able to bring it home. And that's when Megidomon, who was watching in chat, told
Thank
me
you,
something
Megido.
I actually didn't know about this game.
Tetraja rocks make you null Expel and Death until you get hit by one of those elements, and null Death makes you immune to Stone. So a Tetraja rock makes you immune to Stone until you get hit by a Death skill.
I was stunned. He was completely right. Tetraja rocks give you null Expel and Death until you get hit by one of those elements. And Arid Needle is not a death attack. It's a physical attack with a death type status. And since Nada lacks a death skill and the Pazuzus will be muted for the entire fight, one Tetraja rock makes us permanently immune to Stone. Also, before you ask,
Stone.
No, this doesn't make you permanently immune to Beelzebub's death flies. That still only works once. But with this, the fight was now just
the audio and Audacity.
control enough.
It
that I
sounded
could call
fine.
Down the wrath of God
It sounded
upon
fine.
Fuck out of my house! Up next is Mott, who now has Maragidine and
Mott.
swaps Makakaja for Cadenza, a new hard-type buff skill. Since hard-type has made it so Tarukaja buffs both physical and magical attacks, Cadenza now buffs magic attack as well as accuracy with all skills. This means Mott is very likely to hit you very hard, and with 20,000 more HP, he's not gonna go down easy. However, he is
Death
still
skill with
weak to
damage on top?
electric and
Probably.
has no way to prevent us from buffing. So once we're at full tilt, we're capable of dealing around 2,300
He's getting
damage
stone
per
top.
turn.
Boo!
However, this does not
Boo.
make it easy. Just like Clotho, Mott has Diorama, and his healing is based on his magic.
Natively.
Without buffs,
Good
one
to know.
Diorama will heal him for around 3,000. So make sure you keep his attack debuffed if he uses too many cadenzas. He does have the Kunda, but he's not super aggressive with it, so you can usually keep him debuffed. Oh, and of course, alright.
Welcome to this.
1! Beastide! Beastide! 2! Beastide! Beastide! Beastide!
This might be the camera record. I'd be curious. It's insane.
Beast Eye! 3! Beast Eye!
See, Mott. Oh God.
Beast Eye! All my progress gone! Beast Eye!
I was in pain.
Fuck!
I was in pain.
He can do that. But so long as he doesn't do it too much, this fight's fairly
This
easy.
is Hoopla from
With Mott
SpongeBob.
dead, there are no longer any fights in the future that are weak to electric. So we drop
Yeah, that was
Yellow
another
for
one.
Wind Cutter, which deals around 13% more damage. And we're going to need it for the hardest fight this run has had to deal with so far. Mother Harlot, or simply the Harlot in Hardtype, ain't here to give you a kiss on the cheek anymore. She's packing multiple small tweets.
Oh, no, it was
which
objectively
make up a
funny, honey.
Very frightening hole. Compared to the fight surrounding her, her HP hasn't
Mommy.
gone up all that much, only going from 5,000 to 18,500.
Right, can we
However,
go?
it's
Yeah,
her new
it's still there.
moves that really shake things up. First, she subs out Mazionga for Maziodine, increasing her overall electric damage, which is why we kept Void Electric since we picked it up following Pale
I just
Rider.
didn't use it.
Up next, she drops Makajaman for Taunt, which, since we basically sit at +2 offense the entire fight, is
Windows
an
and
on-demand
when it's
-2 to have a
logging,
defense
restall,
for.
change one post,
But
fix
most
itself. That's
importantly
weird.
are her unique options. Deathlust has been renamed into Babylon Goblet, an almighty element Secunda that also applies a mind element Panic. And Beast Roar has been renamed Deathlust. Confusing naming aside, Deathlust now has a mind element Charm on top of being an almighty attack that heals her. The heal has been lowered from 6% down from 10, however her increased HP ends up boosting the healing from 500 to 1110. Mother Harlot has a disgusting amount of synergy in her kit. Taunt will ensure that even if you void mind and electric to block
that
her
was called
elemental
SP5.
status,
I don't
she
believe
can still
so.
rack up damage on you frighteningly
And I know
quick.
it doesn't do what it
Even
does
through
there
physical
either.
resistance, especially if she uses focus first.
Great. Oh no.
Babylon Goblet will also debuff your accuracy, making it harder for you to sustain yourself using death touch damage.
Grimoire.
All the while, Deathlust undoes all of your progress in an instant.
As many imagine
Wait,
names? Ah, okay,
Death
okay.
Touch game Deathlust. Oh heavens no. While Mother Harlot doesn't have Dekaja, her debuffs do enough to keep you honest. And don't forget, you can still be brought to -4 whenever she wants. Meaning she can put you at -4 accuracy or -4 defense, the
Hey,
latter
Journey,
of which is
maybe.
extremely scary. As at -4, she has multiple different options for an OTK. The only saving grace is that while she does have the
Hey, that's my turn.
she doesn't always use it. Every 4 turns, she'll use Dragon Eye to gain 4 additional actions. And if she has any debuffs on her when she does, she'll use Dakunda. This pattern means you can actually debuff her.
Oh, no,
I
so
recommend
heavens,
Fall
no.
Breath to help you weave through her onslaught of focus-boosted basic attacks and Deathlust gaming. And the worst part? Even if you do dodge Deathlust, she still heals. This fight is a slog, because Mother Harlot can literally decide to use this move as much as she pleases. Even taking Electric Drain off of Adama, which cancels her entire turn if she uses Maziodyne, this fight is torture, because Mother Harlot literally has
my
to
chance?
decide
Alright.
not to heal. I recommend a calculator for this fight so you can more accurately track her health, since once she drops below 8,000, she'll enter her second phase, where she uses Dragon Eye every 2 turns. Thankfully, she still only uses Dakunda every 4, but this extra Dragon Eye
Kringay.
makes her significantly more threatening, as well as increasing the odds she'll decide to use Deathlust. Though if she ever heals herself above 8,000 HP, she'll revert to her original pattern. So once she goes below 8,000, you can usually keep her there. I say usually, because one time I got her all the way down to under 6,000, only for her to heal all the way to full and then kill me. I recommend getting
That
comfortable
one.
being debuffed. At level 110 with
I'm
40
still so mad
agility,
about that one.
my base accuracy was so high that I never saw myself miss while I was at -1. So I basically ignored it unless she pushed me any lower. And while she could one-turn me at -2 defense,
That
she had
one's
to get
stung.
lucky in order to do so. So I only really
Yeah.
removed debuffs if I found myself at -4.
Assault is
Otherwise,
real.
lustering up for +1 was usually an easier solution, and helped me mitigate both defense and evasion nerfs. But sometimes, you're just going to have to be comfortable playing things by ear. But with enough luck and
Oh,
a
again?
lot of win
Oh,
totals for
110?
damage,
Yeah.
Mother Harlot will eventually decide not to live anymore, and you will be allowed to move on.
Oh, you think 110 is funny?
Okay, that's frustrating. Okay. Not my favorite.
Grimoire.
Taunt right now. Any debuff.
Rakakem.
Okay, that's not good. Okay, come on.
Like, you can hear how fucking wigged out I am right now, dog.
Please. I didn't want the debuff anymore. Okay. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. I cannot sit at -3. I will implode to a bad
Bro was-
combo.
Bro was just tweaking. Yeah, I'm freaking out, man.
Okay. 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 Oh my god. Oh my god. Everyone shut the fuck up. Everyone shut the fuck up. Yes! We done it! Get absolutely fucked!
I was on this for 4 streams. Not the longest one I've been on. Listen to this.
Yes! It was at this point I hit the biggest wall so far. And of course, it's exactly who you think it is. Trumpeter only makes a few changes, but those changes compound to the worst thing ever.
Exist 40, it feels like it.
Still the same fight he was last run. At the start of the fight, he'll cast Holy Melody, healing the unit with the lowest percentage of HP to their full HP and MP. 4 turns later, he casts Evil Melody, instantly killing the target with the lowest percentage, skipping himself. He then repeats this cycle, looping between Holy and Evil Melody every 4 turns. If we have the skill Endure, we can survive the first of these at 1 HP. But after the second,
7 trumpets.
This means we need to defeat Trumpeter in under 12 turns. Sounds simple, right? Well, that's where Hardtype comes in. Firstly, Trumpeter has gone from 11,000 HP to 28,000. Secondly, Trumpeter now opens on Warcry. Thirdly, he now usually follows up Evil Melody with Megidolon. Fourthly, he now follows up all Holy Melodies after the first with Dekaja. All of these changes elevate Trumpeter from the realm of barely possible to literally impossible. We need to remove the Warcry at the start, or else we'll be dealing 25% less damage for the entire fight.
How do you get a 75 model?
We also need to buff our offense to be able to deal
there's a cool debug file that you can put into SMT5 that allows you to force the debug menu to appear. After that, I just made a decent gray screen.
Also remembering to have our HP be low enough that we get healed by the second Holy Melody, while also keeping in mind that we'll be losing our buffs after the second Holy Melody as well. And through all of that, we still need to remember the goal here. 28,000 damage. Windcutter is currently dealing around 1,233 damage at +2, or 833 at neutral. And Spiral Viper deals even less unless it crits. If I want Spiral Viper strats to work like they did in Nocturne, I would need it to crit literally 8 times in a row. Considering Spiral Viper's 30% crit rate, that would give me a 0.006561% chance of success. Not even a percent of a percent. This was the
It does have good models.
Point. I spent an entire stream just testing ideas and strategies, trying everything to figure out exactly what combination of skills and levels would provide the highest probability of victory, if victory was even possible. And after 3 hours live and several more hours off screen, I made this. I leveled up 100 times and selected the most optimal set of skills to give me the highest chance of success.
The spreadsheets.
Playing offense is Spiral Viper and Windcutter. Spiral Viper gives us high damage along with
Will
a
you post
solid
it?
crit chance
I don't know if I
extra
still have
turns.
them.
And
Maybe.
Windcutter, alongside Magic Boost, a new Hardtype skill which acts as Fire, Ice, Electric, and Force boosts all packed into one, goes for pure, raw DPS. Side note, all boost passives have been nerfed to a 30% increase, down from 50%. Otherwise, this would have been possible about 40 levels earlier. Playing defense is Endure for the first Evil Melody, along with nearly a full suite of drains. Ice, Electric, and Force Drain, along with Shiranui for Void Fire. Taking Void Fire over Drain Fire is actually intentional. Trumpeter actually changes his skills on a pattern, using Electric and Ice after Holy Melody, and Fire and Force after Evil Melody. Since we actually want to be low on HP before the Holy Melody, Void Fire gives us a better chance of being at a lower percent than Trumpeter. Finally, our singular debuff skill, Taunt. I experimented with Fog Breath as it would give us the highest chance of dodging the Megiddo.
Yeah, I always like that
but
too.
without Taunt's defense buff, we just couldn't put enough damage on the board. This was the perfect setup, the best I thought I could do. Though it came at a heavy loss, as to make this perfect Trumpeter setup, we had to sacrifice the one skill that got us here in the first place. Death Touch. I need to make this abundantly clear. I joked about Death Touch Gaming being the savior of the run, but this was a quintessential part of my entire kit. From 40th to Mother Harlot, this was an integral part of my survivability. Not having it would have made so many fights so much worse, if not downright impossible.
07's in chat.
The idea of going out it was scary. Even as I crafted my final kit, I wondered if maybe I could not take a drain and keep Death Touch, just in case. But without all of those immunities, the fight was simply too inconsistent. It had to be done. After being garbage tier in every SMT and Persona game before and after, Death Touch finally had its time to shine. But it was sadly time for it to go. Farewell, Death Touch Gaming.
That was cool. Those
May we
ideas.
meet
I
again
mean,
someday.
I honestly think it'd be easier.
And yet, despite all of our planning,
I don't know what makes that
all
look
of our
of
sacrifice,
Force Boost and Magic
I
Boost stack.
still wasn't getting results. I wasn't dodging the Megidolon, or if I did, I didn't get the crits I needed, or if I did, I just wasn't low enough for the Holy Melody. I kept throwing myself at the wall, and I was so close, but I just wasn't able to string it together. So, we took one last look at our options. Having Void Force instead of Force Drain would mean that Trumpeter couldn't heal us before going for the second Holy Melody. But it would also mean Trumpeter going for basic attacks during that part of the fight would be considerably more threatening. Magma Axis was on the table, and even outdamaged Wind Cutter, but considering Magma Axis had been buffed to treat Repel and Drain as null, something which combos with Pierce to make it a magic Freikugel, I didn't feel comfortable pulling that plug yet. This left us to the only thing remaining, our choice of physical skill. Spiral Viper is good. It's the strongest single physical hit that's not Freikugel, and has a respectable crit rate. But I wasn't getting the crits I felt I should be. So I assessed my options. Deadly Fury would have been fantastic, but it's learned after Void Death.
I wanted Deadly
Death
Fury
Rage,
so
Zealous
much.
Feet, and even Gaia Rage would actually deal less damage with the same crit rate, if not worse, and Iron Claw Gaming is no longer accessible by the Demi-Fiend. But that's when Zephyr, who was also watching
Thank
my
you,
stream,
Zeph.
noticed one final option. Bloodbath. A new physical skill added in Hardtype that deals 3 to
Thanos
5
Paquetas did
hits
such a
to
good
random
job.
targets. Just as with Terrorblade, this means it'll either hit Trumpeter once or twice with a power of 31. This means it'll either do half as much damage as Spiral Viper or equal damage. The catch? A 50% crit rate. It was a gamble, but at this point, I was willing to try anything. 67. I was so happy too because I actually got the right RNG seed.
Fun fact, I did also start to see RNG seeds in Trumpeter as well. Like, I just see that now. I get it like, oh, this is a consistent thing in Nocturne. This must be the way his RNG works.
Alright. Please fuck off. Please fuck off. Okay, alright, we're on it, we're on it. Wind Cutter. Alright.
Seeing the code. I love the point of Bloodbath was made for the damage for action economy. Yeah.
An actual attempt. Alright. Bloodbath. Alright. I think we're actually on pace. 4292. Yeah, no, we're lower. We're lower.
I was so close.
We are lower. Well, by the way,
So
it's
close.
once, it can hit twice.
Did it hit 69? Oh, true.
Alright. We're 2,000 damage shy. So, we're gonna need some big crits.
That was it. That was all I needed. I needed one crit.
Okay, wait. Maybe. 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 Okay, hang on. So I just did 2929. Let me pull up another calculator real quick. Because we might have it, or we might need it. We might need a gamble. So 2929 times 3 is 87. I think we got it. I think we got it. I think we have it. I think we've got it.
The panic is really. Oh yeah.
I think we've got it.
Not the most calculators.
I think we've got it. I think we've got it. We fucking got it. We fucking got it. Get the fuck out of here, you fuck. Yeah! Considering it took me over 100 attempts last time, I'd say 67 attempts is pretty solid. With the final candelabrum obtained, the world was now open to me. I could safely learn whatever skills I wanted and move on towards the end game. Is what I would say if I wasn't facing a new problem. See, remember when I said I leveled 100 times? Well, with those 100 levels, plus an extra one.
You wouldn't have had this. Yeah. How hard is everything in DDS? Absolute hardest thing I've ever had to do. Like, Bishaman was, Bishaman and Trumpeter. Trumpeter required a lot of luck. Bishaman, I misplanned. Demi-Fiend was just awful. Awful, awful, awful.
Bloodbath, I was at level 211. And Shin Megami Tensei Nocturne caps you at level 255. Remember what I said earlier about learning skills? We are only offered new skills.
If I had a nickel for every time Trumpeter was a pain in the ass for solo, I'd have 2 nickels, which is a lot. I'm gonna share one of them with you.
Meaning we can't
learn
new skills.
No. I said he was hard. I said he was awful in terms of challenge. And I think he's hard and awful whether you do him with demons or not. However, I actually still think Demi-Fiend is a very tightly designed fight. It requires a bit of luck. For sure. It requires a bit of luck on the Dormina. But it can be planned around. It can be played around. And you are free to find your own strategies to allow you to beat it. You are not necessarily locked into what the game expects you to do. As long as you're not coming in there with nulls, Demi-Fiend's usually chill. He's not DDS2 Satan. DDS2 Satan is unfun. The fact you did human only shows you not locked in with one strat. Exactly.
This means we are 44 levels away from being locked into whatever skills we have at the time. We needed to fit every single skill change we need for every remaining boss into those 44 levels. And if we fail to do so, we soft lock the entire challenge 120 hours in.
You don't have to use stats most people use?
It was at this point I began to absorb every resource I could. I called on Ash Coop's videos on solo Hardtype with 2 press turns, Jim Reaper's low-level runs, I texted all my SMT buddies, Zephyr, Jaffinator, King Titanite, Deus, all of whom were integral parts of me forming a strategy to plan out the rest of the ride. Not to mention, all of those who tuned in for a stream or two to toss in their 2 cents. I've been playing the villain this entire time, but it was around this point I started to realize it wasn't just me who wanted to see this done. For the first time, what I was doing dawned on me. I was walking truly untreaded ground. People thought this run would be impossible, but now we looked ahead and saw possibility. When I started this run, it was a bit tongue-in-cheek, the assumption I might fail in my mind. Now, failure didn't seem like an option anymore. I was so close, and now I saw just how many people I had at my back.
You guys rock.
I ask again, can you beat Shin Megami Tensei Nocturne Hardtype without using any demons? We have 44 levels to find out. With Trumpeter down, I leveled to 212 and finally pulled the plug on death. This, alongside any Magatama that nulls expel, makes us completely immune to Mitra's Maham. This along
I don't remember.
Bit tongue-in-cheek. These and saw anymore people I had at my back. So I ask again. Can you beat Shin Megami Tensei Nocturne Hardtype? Find out.
Oh yeah, that was the first time I went up there.
With Trumpeter down, I leveled to 212
gotcha.
and finally pulled the plug on Void Death.
Yeah, that makes sense.
This, alongside any Magatama that nulls Expel, makes us completely immune to Mitra's Mahamon and Mamudu.
Yeah,
the
no,
main issue with Mitra
honestly,
is that he alternates between
this bit
two
works
random
really
options.
well.
He will either cast Dragon Eye, followed up by Debilitate, Mamudun, and Mahamon, or he will cast Megidola. I'm sorry, the name of this skill is wrong. He casts Megidola Dying. I swear to God, this move hits so hard, I think
Why
it's
man
4
do that
times
much?
as strong as a standard Megidola. Thankfully, with our stats so grossly inflated, this fight isn't much to talk about. While Megidola Dying can still kill us, he prefers his Debilitate combo, so as long as we keep him relatively under control, we can burst down his 30,000 HP without too capacity. With Trumpeter dead, we can also now access the 4th Kalpa of Amala and fight Beelzebub, for whom we actually don't even need to rotate out any skills. Though Ice Drain is still doing sweet FA, Electric and Force Drain shut down the larger part of Beelzebub's kit. This allows us to spend his entire first phase setting up before we push him past his first HP threshold. At this point, he'll start using Silent Prayer, a new move that acts as a full-screen Dekaja and Dekuna. This would theoretically remove any buffs he had as well, but since he doesn't have any buff spells, this isn't much to talk about. The only real matter of concern here is Death Flies.
See some
an
Pokemon fan
extremely
watch this video
strong
because
almighty
Game
attack
Champions did it.
that also has a 100% chance to
I can't wait to see
kill you.
her do
Thankfully, that instant
Gen
kill
2
is
damageless.
So
That's
Void
gonna
Death
be
makes this
insane.
fight a lot easier.
I
This
attempted
is
to
why
map
we
that
waited
out
so
years
long
ago,
to
and
take
I'm just
Void
like,
Death.
this.
So if you didn't want
this
to
is
glitch kill
awful.
on Gyoki, you can go back and do that now.
The fact that I wasn't
At this
insane
point,
enough
the
yet.
only real thing Beelzebub can do to kill us is cast Death Flies twice, which he can do, but that would still require 2 high damage rolls to actually kill us. This was definitely a bit lucky, but we killed the Lord of the Flies on our first try. We are 2 Death Flies from winning.
This is what moms thought 90s Pokemon was. Yeah. True.
We are 1 Death Fly from winning.
Demi Fiend the hardest Atlas boss? No.
We've been low rolling actually. Maybe not.
Demi Fiend is one of the best Atlas super bosses that they've ever done. I would agree with that. One of the best super bosses that Atlas has ever done. I think Satan is probably the hardest, but I do not think Satan is the most fun. Missed opportunity to give Armand Silent Prayer. True.
Oh my God, we did so well today.
Is Satan harder?
Fucking first try.
No.
First tried him.
Well, sorry. DDS2 Satan? Yes. SMT5 Satan? No. What is the most fun super boss in your opinion? Most fun super boss in my opinion. I'm a big fan of Vengeance and super bosses, honestly.
Tried him. From there, we make our way to the Amala temples for a second, just to confront Hikawa in the diet.
I finally figured it out. You're the only one who is here with me this entire time. You're the only friend I have here. If I want to be an SMT protagonist, I have to kill you with the power of my god, Erimath.
Aradia, go! Stop him from destroying the world!
As you wish. Displor number 3.
Your demon causes game errors.
I do not know why I
use
used the printer for that.
Similar to the decision in Mifune Shiro, Hikawa gives you an option here. But unlike back then, he will always give you this choice. Refuse to stand aside, and you will fight Samael. Agree, and you'll skip the entire fight.
That's
Normally,
weird
this
and
gets you
real.
so many points towards Hikawa's alignment that you're almost guaranteed to get his ending. But if you're already locked into, or plan to lock yourself into, the true demon ending, this doesn't really matter, as the TDE always takes priority. Thus, the Samael fight is entirely optional. But I'm not one to let a fight go unfought. Samael upgrades Beast Eye to Dragon Eye, Maragi Eye to Prominence, and Retaliate to Avenge. But beyond that, isn't that
That's
scary.
much for fun battle. I
The
would
only
agree
major
with that.
concern is his unique move, God's Curse.
I think
While
that
it lost the ability to inflict mind-type ailments, it now deals
I think
with...
SMT5 Demi is a better fight, but I think DDS1 Demi is a better challenge. And That makes me kind of prefer DDS1 Demi, personally.
To heavy almighty damage, and still retains its
In
chance
most
to
Final
bind,
Fantasy Super bosses,
stun, or
I've
mute.
seen a few.
This is why we picked up Void, Nerve, and Curse. We can't let ourselves get incapacitated by ailments in this fight. And while we could pick those up with only 3 levels of investment, the real kicker was Avenge. A side of prominence, which we can hard stop with Gehenna, and Megidola.
That was a nice dodge.
He tends to prefer his basic attack, which we can punish with Avenge for a significant amount of free damage. As such, I decided to spend 3 levels to pick this up, putting us at 218. He will use Dekaja from time to time, so we'll have to luster up every now and again, but considering we're doing nearly 1500 damage per
Maybe that
wind
let's see
cutter
what
while
else
he's
yet.
at +4 defense, this won't take you too long.
Which one is it? What game?
At which point, Hikawa disintegrates Game Champ and summons his god.
I finally killed my friends. Now I'm better than everyone else.
Metaphor? Ooh.
You look different from last I saw you.
I feel different. I feel better.
Then do you know why you're fighting now?
Yeah. It's because I know I can do this. I can do something nobody else has done. I can put myself to that grindstone and take the diamond within for myself. This is mine. I can do this.
Then take this and do it. Be the first. Be the only one who can say you did it.
She did this so well.
With that, the Tower of Kagutsuchi is called, and we can enter the endgame. Once we enter the tower, our ending is locked. If we want the TDE...
Also, I do need to jump in and, I couldn't break that scene because it sold the tone I was going for this video too well to change a thing. I couldn't change a single part of it. That was just exactly what I wanted. But she did also have a bit of an outtake in that one.
Be the only one who can say you did it. I just broke something.
You do not know how hard I had to resist having her drop the Yahiro no Hiborogi. Every time I listened to that scene, it was just like, don't do it. Don't do it. This needs to be a serious scene. Don't do it.
There's one last thing we have to do. In order to enter the 5th Kalpa, we have to endure a bit of a lengthy side quest, where we talk to this Ifriti in the 2nd Kalpa, who tells us that his drinking buddy has
I
a
might
key.
still get that edited.
So we go talk to Loki
just for the
and
fun
Ginza,
of it,
who
man.
tells us that he sold it to the collector mannequin, so we have to go get it off him. This allows us to use it in the 3rd Kalpa to enter an offshoot area of the 4th Kalpa, unlock a door, head back to the 3rd Kalpa, back down to the main area of the 4th Kalpa, and finally down to the 5th Kalpa.
But there's a short.
But if you want to make this a bit more
maybe,
interesting, you can bug out the cutscene where the collector mannequin gives you the key. See, when you hit talk at a shop, the game checks what shop you're at so it knows what dialogue to play. In order to check if you've triggered this stage of the quest, it also runs a check to see if you've spoken to Loki about the key. The problem is that the key check happens before the check to see what shop you're in. If you're at the collector mannequin shop, the game plays the scene correctly. But if you're at any other shop, the game has hit the check to know it needs to play some form of special dialogue, but since it doesn't have dialogue to play...
Dummy.
Dummy. Dummy. Dummy.
Yeah, I'm sure she'd be cool with it. Yeah.
We now have the star key. By the way, this only works on the PS2 version. It was fixed in HD. And with that, we finally arrive at our old friend, Alan Rickman. More than I think any other fight, Metatron has seen the largest upgrade. his basic attack now inflicts Mute with a 100% success rate. So you're going to want Void Curse if you want to avoid that.
Welcome to hell.
The best way to break this fight down is phase by phase. In phase 1, he uses Silent Prayer to prevent you from buffing yourself or debuffing him, and he is extremely aggressive with it. If you buff yourself up with Luster Candy, if he doesn't remove it, it's because you dodged or nulled an attack and he was going to do it with his next action. He isn't capable of too much in this
you
phase,
hate us, honestly?
though if he crits into 2 Megidolons, he can still
DDS1.
theoretically put over 1,000 damage on the board and one-turn you. The real issue comes with phase 2. In phase 2, he begins...
Why is Metatron referred to as Alan Rickman? In the movie Dogma, Alan Rickman plays the Metatron.
Casting Heat Riser. This is a new move to Hardtype in board and one-turn you. The real issue comes with phase 2. In phase 2, he begins by casting Heat Riser. This is a new move to Hardtype that acts as a single target +2 to all stats. In this phase, he doesn't often go for Silent Prayer, occasionally going for
And
the
I'm doing my
Kaja
job.
instead. And if you try to remove any of his +2s, he'll just go for Heat Riser again.
That's the Alan
In addition,
Rickman joke?
he's
I
still
honestly didn't even
patched
think about it.
Debilitate. And seeing as he has an action economy advantage over you, he's literally guaranteed to be at a better position than you at all times.
I more wanted to focus on conveying how dog shit this fight is nuts. Also, I think Persona 6 is probably a good time for this now.
For an example, say by some miracle, you're at neutral and he's at +2. This is livable for you. On his turn, he uses Debilitate to put you at -1, then Megidolons you down to 300. In this state, there is literally nothing you can do. You're low enough that he can kill you if you luster back up, and if you heal, he can very easily kill you at +2/-1. And since he seems to stop using Mahamon in this phase,
Persona 6 never comes out.
Your loss is already assured. You'll be dead on the floor before you even hit phase 3. And don't even talk to me about Fire of Sinai. This fight
Metaphor
is literally
2?
impossible by design to do solo with one press turn. So, you know what we gotta do. Just like the original game and Digital Devil Saga 1 before it, we can simply keep ourselves healed up and slowly mill his MP away. My bad, unlucky. I said we can slowly mill his... We can't mill his MP away! Metatron has gone from over 10,000 MP to 55,000. I shit you not, he has almost twice as much MP as HP, and his HP has gone up to 27,777. And remember, Metatron is extremely aggressive about dispelling our buffs.
How many heals did it take you to mill the MP? Incalculable.
But we need to be buffed, or else the odds that he can instant kill us are simply too high. For reference, 1 Megidolon deals around 400 to 450
Metaphor Best Atlas game? I think it's very good.
2 high rolls can put us at under 100 HP. And at that point, if we get hit by a single basic attack, we are guaranteed dead. Now, since he has 2 actions, he can only fire 2 Megidolons and a basic attack if the basic attack is a crit. But remember, 10,000 MP took us an hour and a half to mill last time. Now, he's got over 5 times that. Even with a meager 4% crit rate, the odds he will eventually crit are too high.
Not
In
many.
fact, it's all but guaranteed. If he crits, we just need to hope that he decides to go for Mahamon instead. There is literally no other option. And that, sadly, is the only way to describe the fight. Actually fighting him was impossible, as he would simply win because we can't control his buffs and debuffs with one action. To drain Metatron of his 55,000 MP would be unbelievably painful. It would take 6 hours minimum, an hour and a half with emulator speedups, and it could end at any point because Metatron decides you lose. But unlike actually fighting him, it was possible. Statistically unlikely, wholly unfeasible, and incredibly painful, but possible. So, in lieu of any other option, I picked up Void Expel to block Mahamon, Mediarahin to keep myself alive, and Mana Drain to speed up the process. And at level 223, I got to draining.
Shout out to Mason White Gaming! You dropped it on YouTube? Yeah, I noticed. It sounds so simple. Oh, damn. I commissioned this before Metaphor existed. I've had this for a minute. Fun fact, that's actually a track in
that moment,
Nocturne for some reason.
The
That
voice of God
Metatron
had
dying
fallen.
thing.
We were officially en route for the true demon ending.
The
But
epic
amid the
demon
cheers and
ending.
celebrations, the voice of a certain someone rung over the crowd. Who is this mysterious someone? Well, we'll get to that later. For now, we had a tower to climb.
I'm winning the masochism contest. How much
Tower
it
of
be?
Kagutsuchi pits us
55,000.
against all three of the recent leaders. Hikawa with Araman, Gnarly with Noah, and Deus with Ball Avatar. And while the game gives us the freedom to tackle Noah and Ball Avatar in any order, we must defeat Araman first.
Amuse me with your strength, evil one, before eternal silence is upon us. If you do not heed my words, then I
Here's
shall
your game
send
was
you
up.
to
Yeah, she's
hell.
up there.
This is but a game.
Nirvana DS2. Ooh, that would have worked.
Araman will forbid certain forms of actions over the course of the fight.
And no one's
if you
for the
ever
reveal.
use the forbidden action, he'll instantly kill you. In the base game, the first part of this fight is fairly trivial, as with only 6,000 HP, we can do so much damage that we actually skip phases. Now with 36,000 HP, each phase is now 3,600 health long, so we can only skip phases if we crit, and even then only during specific phases. But in order to even get there, we need to work on surviving. Because we no longer have Warcry or Taruna to debuff his attack, we need to have a game plan to increase our survivability. So I picked up Drain Attack, which thankfully has been buffed significantly. Normally, it reduces your crit rate, but makes it so that your basic attack heals you for 25% of the damage done. This has been buffed so that it no longer reduces your crit rate, and now also heals you for the damage of a basic attack.
Oh yeah, it's all coming together.
With Drain Attack gaming on our side, we can't possibly lose. We also swap out Void Curse and Mediavahin for Rakunda and Bright Might.
I'm pretty sure
Since
required
Hardtype
for this
allows
fight.
all passives that buff your basic attack to stack with each other. And we move into the fight at level 228. Araman's game always goes in the same order, and it's important to know what skills are going to be forbidden when. He always starts on physical attacks, so buff yourself to +2 and then spam Rakunda to get him to -2.
Reincarnation
I tried
Drain
to use
Attack is a
taunt, but
skill.
buffing his basic attack is a
Yeah.
bad idea. Even if you have the Nakaja stones to remove it, you're still giving him time to capitalize. Use items to stay alive.
Looking
and
cool,
when done,
Joker.
Swing with Wind Cutter for
STEI,
over
thank you for the sub on
4,600
YouTube.
damage. After he takes 3,600 damage, he'll swap to spell attacks, so start spamming Drain Attack. With our buffs and debuffs, we hit and heal for around 1,300, so this won't take long. After that, he swaps to healing. This is one of two phases we can actually get a phase skip in. If you get a crit, swing with Wind Cutter.
Death Hunter Channeling
This
Devil
will deal
Survivor.
nearly 6,000
Yeah.
damage total, so if you've done any damage prior to the crit, you should be able to skip the following phase. If you don't skip it, he forbids all spells next. Again, just
Return
spam
of the
basic attacks
carry.
until you get out of this one. Phases 5 and 6 are both freebies, items which we no longer need to use at this point, and summoning. Nothing we want to use is forbidden during this segment, so just tap this one in. Phase 7, he bars all spells and items. This is functionally the same as all spells, so just spam basics until he's done. Phase 8 is healing and items. If you can sneak a Wind Cutter to end this phase, do so, as the final phase is the long one. The last and final thing he forbids is all except physical attacks. And this is the longest phase of all, lasting from 7,560 HP to 720, nearly twice as long as every other phase. This is the main reason we waited so long on Drain Attack Gaming. This phase is impossible without it. But by this point, you should be buffed up, and he should be debuffed enough that he shouldn't be able to prevent you from taking him down. Of course, God forbid it's that easy. Aramon's second phase sports 55,000 HP, giving him a grand total of 91,000, meaning he wins the award for single largest HP bar in the entire game. Congratulations, Hikawa, you're an asshole. Aside from that, Aramon 2 is identical to his standard appearance. Basic attacks, Tentacle for higher damage and a higher crit rate, Megidolan for almighty damage, but worst of all, Apocalypse. Stronger than Megidolan, more accurate, and it deals around 500 damage up front at +2 defense. Plus, while he's not guaranteed to go for it, he
the
can
boss that's sitting down
absolutely
stands
go
up.
for Dekasha.
Steven moment.
Thankfully, similar to Metatron, he doesn't seem to spam this move. But if he gets a crit with his basic attack, he can absolutely go for a second one, which is all but a guaranteed loss. This run took no small shortage of attempts, as I didn't start my attempts with Bright Might. However, once I took it, things really turned around. Once I got to Aramon's second phase using Bright Might, barring my first Drain attack, which was a normal hit, I proceeded to get 8 crits in a row. This allowed me to follow up with a Wind Cutter.
God, that still felt good.
For over 4,000 damage each time. Mind you, since Bright Might is now a coin flip, this meant I made 8 coin flips back to back. I rocketed through this fight, and even then, I was still in danger of losing it all. After the 8th crit, he finally landed a crit of his own with Tentacles. At this point, he could kill me with Apocalypse and any other
sound
attack.
is so good. I love 5 sound
he
design.
Went for something even worse. He finally cast Dekasha. And as if to rub salt in the wound, he crits again, but miraculously still chose not to finish me off, instead hitting me with a basic attack. At this point, I had to gamble. Even losing a third of my damage, I could still deal around 850 with a basic attack, and 3,000 with a Wind Cutter. He had just under 4,000 health left, so if I crit for 1,200, a Wind Cutter would give me the win. I just needed that one last crit. It's over. It's over. It's Jover. It's Megidover. We came so close, but in the end, we couldn't stop Aramon from critting us to death. Never mind. Situation is red. Let's go.
I got so lucky there.
He threw! He threw, guys! We got it!
Did you really need a thrust like that? Absolutely.
This opens up our path to the top of the Tower of Kagutsuchi. But even though I had so many people at my back, there's 2 more that I needed to beat. That's right, it's time to do the SMT thing and kill our friends. But we are not nearly ready for that yet. At the start of the 3rd section of the tower, we come to a small town run by the mannequins Deus likes so much. And this guy has the final Magatama on the list, Kailash. Unfortunately for me, I think they're upcharging me because of what I did in Mifunashiro. Unfortunately for them, being barely below max level gives you a little bit of money.
I'm rich.
All 24 Magatama in
I'm
my
rich.
possession, we go to the Cathedral of Shadow. Doors? Doors? Light?
This is still so weird.
I've been waiting for you. Fuck you. Oh, that's wrong. The 12! What is going on?
12.
What is going on? I'm scared. Regardless, with all 24 Magatama in my possession, we go to the Cathedral of Shadows, and Mito gives us the Lord's Sword, a unique item that allows us access to the Bando Shrine northeast of the tower. In here contains the 4 Heavenly Kings, Inky, Blinky, Pinky, and Bishaman.
Graphic design is my fucking passion, guys.
If I want to be able to beat Gnarly and Deus before the
12 times 2 Magatama.
I need what's in that
Confirmed.
shrine. So, we return to the Bando Shrine, ready to take on some old friends. In the base game, Jikoku and Zocho can be defeated by equipping whatever nulls their respective element and putting the game on autopilot.
When someone asks me my
now
favorite
they
number.
require like one step more effort. Zocho will now use Tarukaja and go for health thrust or his basic attack more often. Considering a critical health thrust at +1 was doing almost 800, this puts us in a bad situation, since we lacked any offense lowering abilities and had used Drain Electric for Trumpeter. But that's when I realized I still had about 58
Going to the
attack
end of the
mirrors
video?
left over for when I tried them for Kinky and Asio.
I don't have anything
Since we
going
saw
on
that
after
wind
this,
cutter, we
so
can alternate between attacking to target Zocho's weakness, then
I don't see
using
why
an
not.
attack mirror to make us repel physical. With the Adama Magatama for Electropel, this means Zocho literally cannot hurt us, and we go through his 30,000 HP in no
I'm gonna go pee real quick again.
Swapping over
I
to
will leave
my
you guys
Asma
with the
for
video.
no ice,
This
we
is not
employed the exact same strategy for Jikoku,
This is not
subbing out Wind
crazy
Cutter
here.
from Miragi Rocks. Considering the notable power increase from the second strongest magic attack in the game to Miragi of all things, we'd be doing around 700 damage per hit, taking around 46 turns to put him down. I had more than enough Miragi Rocks, but I didn't want to blow 46 attack mirrors. But unlike Zocho, Jikoku tends to prefer ice spells over physical attacks, so I lusted up to +2 and Vakunded him down to -2. This brings our damage around 1400, which makes us able to attack mirror him down without much hassle. It was at this point I finally decided to level up again to 299, picking up Thunder Rain, a new hard-type attack that does mega AoE electric damage. It doesn't hit nearly as hard as Wind Cutter, but against an electric weak target like Komoko, it doesn't need to. Komoko still opens up by using Dragon Eye, Rakukaja, and then Makunda, but changes strategies once he hits +4 defense. Beat his first 2 turns with a Thunder Rain into a Luster Candy, then once he hits +4, hit him with a Nakaja Rock. If you have the time, use a Nakunda Rock to fill your own debuffs, then continue to Luster back up to +2 in defense.
I have returned.
From there, even a focus boosted Deathbound won't be enough to kill you. This took me a few tries to get the necessary.
Funny enough, Jikoku and Zocho read mirrors in the original game will use Fizz if you put up magic mirrors, so they will actually remove part of the fight. Wait, really?
Luck where he didn't just kill me before I could finish setting up. But once I was good to go, I could alternate between Thunder Rain and Attack Mirrors to cheese the fight without using too many. And with that, we finally level up all the way to 234. For anyone who saw the old Nocturne video, this is the fight I wanted to redeem myself on. In that video, when I said that was my first time playing Nocturne, I meant it.
Had a
I did
weird
not
audio
prepare
glitch
at
here. I
all
had to
for the
re-render
Shaman
this
rematch,
section.
So I
It
was
looks good,
underprepared
though.
in every sense of the word. This time, I saved skills for the entire game in order to absolutely steamroll this fight. One level gets me Drain Fire as a passive, which alongside any physical resisting Magatama, mitigates all of the Shaman's kit besides Meki Dolan. But astute observers who play too much Nocturne might have noticed something a while ago. I took Ice Drain for Trumpeter.
Feel no
Doesn't that
more
mean I would have had to
darkness,
pass on Glacial Blast again? And
despair.
yes, it does. I did do that. However, Hardtype added a different option, Cocytus. 4 levels deeper as the new capstone of the Satan Magatama, is slightly less power per hit than Glacial Blast, however each hit has a 33% freeze chance, compared to Glacial Blast's 17%. This not only allows us to take advantage of the Shaman's ice weakness, but also scores free critical hits afterwards for huge damage and healing with Drain Attack.
I love this
Mind you,
version.
the Shaman is still not
It fits
easy.
so well.
He can rock it up to +4 in physical or magical at any time, debuff you with Debilitate, swing for massive damage, all the same toys as before. But between Dakunda Rocks to remove debuffs, significantly improve turn economy, the ability to buff ourselves, and now mitigating both fire and physical, we were able to beat the boss that once took me 700 tries in only 40 deaths. I think we got it. I think we got it. 1504. Boom! Yeah! Slide punch! Yes! Fucking 1 day! I did that in an hour! With the pillars lowered, we unlock the Masakados Magatama. Masakados has sadly been nerfed pretty hard, now only providing innate resistance to most of the
God,
elements,
it felt so
though
good.
It does still
It felt so good.
spell, death, and all ailments.
I'm still smiling about
However,
that.
that's not what we're
Only
here
40.
for, because it still
Compare the
provides
700?
without passives for every element. Prize in hand, we return to the Tower of Kagutsuchi.
Impertinent! I will never.
Sometimes certain fights in runs
What did I
like
just turn
these
off? What did I just turn off? No, okay. Oh, weird. Also, I will never not playing Minesweeper on top of Thor 2. Like, that's actually just a recording from the stream.
Sometimes, certain fights in runs like these are difficult to talk about, because unlike stuff like Asiel, Pale Rider, or even Araman, it's not a factor of, I had the idea to take these things and that let me win. Sometimes there is nothing you can do but know what's coming, know how to deal with it, and then executing that plan without fail. I could not do the Moirai sisters without several no
I had to use
passes.
the Deus song.
I could not do Trumpeter without Endure. And without the full breadth of Masakados, I would not be able to handle Ball Avatar.
Robin, for denying the mannequins their ending, for killing Giga Chad Futomimi, I will destroy you!
In the original game, Ball Avatar was an absolute joke.
Yeah.
Unlike nearly every boss past the mid-game for the last 60 hours, they only have one press turn, and their actions consist of 3 expel attacks and Megidola. The only unique thing they have is Bale's Bane, a special attack which turns you into a fly. Being a fly sets all of your stats to 1 and overwrites your natural affinities so that you take double base damage from everything, and also doubles your chances of dying to instant kills. However, since Bale's Bane is Curse Element and Demi-Fiend can rock Masakados, or Gase if you don't have it, this is not normally an issue in Demonless runs. Combine this with a fairly middling agility stat, and Ball Avatar can barely hit you, let alone hurt you. Hardtype, meanwhile, made Ball Avatar an actual functional boss. Holy Wrath is swapped for
normally,
new mega damage AoE force attack. Beast Eye has been upgraded to Dragon Eye, and to top it all off, Ball Avatar now has Heat Riser. But more than anything else, Bale's Bane has been upgraded to Almighty Elements. This means on the first turn, you will be turned into a fly, meaning you must play the entire fight out, taking double damage from all sources, while also having a doubled chance to die to Mahamon. Combine that with Heat Riser, and Ball Avatar is now the most threatening of all 3 Reason fights. Now, she's guaranteed to hit you, and she's going to be doing quadruple damage with all of her attacks. Much as I would have liked to take Dekaja, this doesn't even solve all of our problems. Because while Force Drain and Void Expel might have solved Ball Avatar, save for Megidola,
beaten by a fly.
Even gotten to the true gimmick of the boss. After taking enough damage, Ball Avatar will summon Giga Chad Ose and Giga Chad Floros, who round out the rest of Ball's kit. Floros will always immediately heal Ball Avatar to their full 36,000 HP, has every buff skill, Dekaja, as well as Maragidyne and Mazandine. Meanwhile, Ose packs Maziodyne and Mabufudyne, along with Wakunda, Dekunda, and Tetrakarn and Makarakarn. Both of them are also packing extremely hard-hitting physical skills, and as if all of that wasn't enough, once Ball Avatar's HP is low enough after the backup is summoned, they can start using Antictathon, a new single-target skill that deals heavy almighty damage and debilitates on hit. I'm gonna be real here, Ball Avatar is now the final boss of the Reason fights. Once
I love what they did to Ball Avatar so much.
Floros come out, they won't stop using it even after they are dead. Meaning even if we were to take down Ose and Floros, Dragon Eye into Heat Riser, Megidola is a guaranteed kill. And even if they don't use Dragon Eye, one Antictathon can leave us in an impossible state. This fight requires us to manage physical, fire, ice, electric, force, expel, and almighty, along with having to keep ourselves healed and buffed while also preventing Ball Avatar from buffing too much. For a lone Demi-Fiend with 1 press turn, it is impossible to win this in a fair fight. Fortunately, Masakados means we don't have to fight fair. We go up 6 levels to 241, skipping Megidolan and picking up passives to repel fire, ice, electric, and physical. We pass on Force Repel, and that's because I'm going to beat Deus using his own strategy. For anyone unaware, in Deus' own No Demons run of Shin Megami Tensei Nocturne, he beat Lucifer by stalling him out of his MP. And we're going to do the same. Force Repel would mean Deus would slowly lower his own HP with reflected Pantares. Force Drain means we decide once Phase 2 begins, and I decide that it happens once he's out of MP. Of course, Megidola can still hit us fairly hard, capable of around 800 damage at +4, and we didn't have the HP restores to make this work. However, 5 more levels allowed us to pivot into Dia Rahen. With this, we can heal every time we get hit without having to worry about dying.
Yep.
And unlike Metatron, Ball Avatar just no longer uses their basic attack in Hardtype.
Fun fact, actually, it's a good thing that didn't happen, because for whatever reason, Ball Avatar's basic attack in Hardtype was changed to be low power comparatively to all the other Reason bosses, but have a 90% crit rate. If Ball Avatar had used their basic attack. The fuck? Yeah, no. Zambero sent me and Zephyr the tables. That for Hardtype. Screw up the code. I don't know if it's screw up the code or just didn't have it in the AI. Or whatever the hey. But yeah, no, Ball's attack is the lowest out of all of them. It's only 32 base power. Every single other one of them has higher base power. Armand 1 is 42. Armand 2 is 56. Noah 1 is 62. Noah 2 is 70. Ball Avatar is only rocking a normal 32, but has a 90% crit. Ball's attack. Did Ball have attack all? Who knows? Yeah, if she did, that might be a reason why she didn't use it against me. I'd actually be curious if anyone's seen Ball Avatar's basic attack in Hardtype.
This allowed us to mill out their 50,000 HP in complete safety, before forcing Deus to enter Mosquito Simulator 2024.
I got a dip. Glad to find your streams.
Florals come out,
Not a problem. Take it easy, Deku. See you later. See you tomorrow, hopefully.
Out without any effort. Thus, once we get to Phase 3, Antichthon is off the table, and after around 400
it would change a lot.
We beat Deus at his own game.
Much easier crit farming.
2024. Once Ose and Florals come out, they're completely walled as well, allowing us to take them out without any effort. Thus, once we get to Phase 3, Antichthon is off the table, and after around 400 fly bites, we beat Deus at his own game.
I love the struggle here. The struggle looked so good there. Is Ball's attack Almighty type? Actually, good question. I think it's just standard Fizz. It's standard Fizz in Hardtype at least.
Way. Gotta give you credit, but you seek to complete
shit.
For a truly peaceful.
That's weird. Only knows is Almighty. Kagutsuchi is also Almighty, but
you've come a long way. Gotta give you credit, but you seek to complete Nocturne. For a truly peaceful world, Nocturne must never exist. Sorry, Robin. This is goodbye.
Noah was a fight I expected to be fairly easy. See, his main gimmick is Aurora, which allows him to change his affinities to repel everything except one element, going in the order Ice, Fire, Force, Electric. But since I had saved the upgraded Magma Axis Pierce combo for this exact fight, I didn't see any issue. But I have forgotten one very crucial detail about the fight. Until you deal enough damage, Noah will exclusively spam his basic attack, which is physical, almighty, and guaranteed to hit.
Oh, I love this
Plus
track.
1 to our defense, this does just under half of our HP, but since he gets 2 press turns, this forces us into an infinite loop of healing with items until we run out and just die. If we were at +2, we would deal enough damage that Drain Attack Gaming could fully heal us. But if we luster up to +2, we'd still be at low HP, and if we heal, we just get looped again. Thankfully, the Strem chat helped me make a plan. On the first turn, we luster up to +1.
It
Then
took a
on
village.
the second turn, we throw out a Drain Attack. If we don't get a crit, we reset, and this does take us roughly 20 attempts, but eventually, we get our critical hit. This heals us for over 1000 HP, while also allowing us to luster up to +2. Now the tables are turned.
Looking cool,
Quantum
Joker.
Physics, thank you for the
Damage to
YouTube
heal ourselves
sub.
the full every single turn. Once he starts casting Aurora, the fight gets significantly easier, as he will prioritize his elemental attacks. So since we take no damage most turns, we can just spam Magma Axis into him over and over for roughly 2500 to 3000 damage each turn. We do have to heal every now and again, but burning through Phase 1's 35,000 HP is not hard at all.
Magma Axis. I love Apocalypse Bird sound effect there.
Phase 2 sees things get immediately harder, as Noah breaks out Domination, which I did not consent to, and can basically be described as Death Touch on steroids. Even at +2 defense, this deals roughly 800 damage on average, while also draining a quarter of my MP. This is where our damage being so fucking high comes in handy. Once Noah decides not to use Domination and swing into us with an Elemental, we can stop using healing items and swing into him with Magma Axis. If he goes for Domination, he'll heal some of this off, but you should be putting more damage on the board than he's healing off. It's also a fantastic thing that Magma Axis was changed to use MP instead of HP, because otherwise this fight would have been a lot scarier.
Blessed change.
Of course, if you want to talk scary... We in the business call that a problem. If this happens, your top priority should be reapplying buffs. Domination at +1 does about 875 damage on average, and the highest roll I ever saw from him was in the 950 range. So a Domination at +1 shouldn't kill you. But the sooner you can get back to +2, the better. This fight can be extremely swingy, since you also have to deal with Noah healing off your damage, but with enough beads and enough luck, you can show Noah what true domination looks like.
Yeah!
With Aramon silenced, Noah isolated, and Ball Avatar overpowered, the path to Kagutsuchi opens. And there is nothing left for us to do but choose our final skills and Magatama. With Repel or Drain to every element we care about, we only have 3 skill slots to work with, of which I opted for Drain Attack Gaming, Newcomer Magma Axis, but for our buffing skill, Lustering Up wouldn't cut it anymore. We needed something stronger.
Oh, you must be truly desperate to come to me for help.
Heat Riser, 5 levels deep into
Heat
Kailash,
Riser!
allows us to instantly buff to +2 to all stats,
Heat.
pushing us to level 252. We made it. Once you're ready, equip the Iomante
Did you learn Heat Riser for the Noah
I'm
fight?
serious, you don't want Masaka.
No, I did not. I considered it, actually. However, every single skill in the Noah fight was important. Drain Attack was important to get off the ground. Drain Attack, Magma Axis, Pierce. Those are all important. All that was like super important. I couldn't fit Heat Riser onto the build without making some kind of concession. And none of them were a good idea. If I had to pick one, it would have been Physical Repel. Woo! He comes back with a vengeance. Did you play this one? Script-wise, yes.
Once you're ready,
At the exact moment when I was doing the run, no.
Dante Magatama, I'm serious, don't want Masakatos here. Level up 3 more times, make a backup safety save.
Right,
and
yeah.
ride the elevator to your destiny.
Right, yeah.
We both know this is not the first time you have stood here. In November of 2020, you were blind to the world around you. You walked a path unknown, but still saw fit to take further challenge upon yourself. But your lust for challenge could not be sated. You saw a challenge none would dare undertake, to walk a road few have dared to walk with demons, much less without. And when you saw the only ones who had dared did so with 2 actions, you undertook my mod upon yourself.
Wait, what?
I am Zombero, and if you want to complete Nocturne Hardtype without using demons, this is your final challenge.
Foreshadowing is a literary device in which...
Remember that certain someone during the Metatron fight? That was Zombero, the mod creator himself, returning to the SMT sphere to congratulate me on taking it this far. And he was here to watch me tackle the final fights. But in spite of everything we faced, we still had one final trial left.
Zombero plays God.
Kagutsuchi's changes are the pinnacle of simple but effective. Most of his kit is the same, but a higher power level along with the changes to magic made Kagutsuchi 1 an absolute nightmare. And I do mean Kagutsuchi 1. His second phase isn't that bad, but we'll get there.
I'm surprised. I'm
Firstly,
happy he was down.
Kagutsuchi 1's HP has doubled to 40,000, matching the HP of the second phase. His kit at the start of the fight isn't all that scary. His basic attack is Physical Almighty, he has heavy all-target skills for the 4 elements, and in Hardtype, he swaps Megidola for Megidolan. However, the hard part of this fight comes with the moon. See, when fighting Kagutsuchi 1, each time it's your turn, the moon phase advances 2 phases, starting at the new moon. At new moon, your damage is doubled and Kagutsuchi's is halved. At a crescent moon, you're at 150% and he's at 75%. At half moon, you're both dealing standard damage. At a gibbous, you're dealing 75% and he'll be doing 150%. And at a full moon,
that was a fun
you'll be
edit to
dealing
do.
half damage,
It was
and
ass,
he'll
but
be
it was
dealing
fun.
double damage. Moreover, at full moon, Kagutsuchi will always
0%
spend
crit
his
rate in phase
entire
1,
turn
I
casting
believe.
Vast Light, an almighty attack which is guaranteed to hit and deals roughly 850 damage at +2 defense. Which means if we're not at +2, Vast Light is guaranteed lethal. Even at +1, it deals around 1050
Yes.
on average. We cannot take a Vast Light hit unless we are fully buffed. Now, you might think, okay, that's fine. We buffed to +2 and coast, right?
Like normal?
Well,
I don't
here's
know.
what I mean by simple but effective. In Hardtype, Vast Light is also a Dekaja. Every time you get hit by Vast Light, your buffs go back to 0. And as if that wasn't bad enough,
No.
2 basic attacks under 6/8 Moon is lethal unless you're at +2 defense. Every single time Vast Light is used, you roll the dice that Kagutsuchi doesn't go for 2 basic attacks. If he does, you lose, go to the title screen, do not pass go, do not
Yeah.
collect 200 Maka. Even assuming he doesn't go for 2 basic attacks, we need to be at +2 again before the next full moon, or it's all for naught. And stringing together 2 turns where we can muster up just wasn't consistent enough. This is the exclusive reason we brought Heat Riser. Heat Riser reduces the amount of turns we need to bump up from 2 to 1.
Wait, no.
This increases our survivability significantly, and also allows us to get a lot more damage on the board.
Ooh,
Unfortunately,
looking cool,
being
Joker.
able to
Thank you for the
our death
sub.
every 8 turns is only the first of our concerns. Once you get him to around 70% HP remaining, in the base game, he'd start casting Phase Shift. This would move the Moon phase forward 2 phases, potentially putting him in a better situation, or at the very least meaning he would use Vast Light again sooner.
Heat Stand is
In
so
Hardtype,
powerful.
this move is changed to Omnipotence. What does Omnipotence do?
Yo, what the fuck?
Omnipotence is a flat +6 to all stats. Yes, I said +6. Even if we could somehow put him at minimum stats, this sets him to maximum. And he loves this move.
Hated
He'll
this
sometimes
move.
use it even if he's already at max stats. This is probably because his AI thinks it's using phase shift, so he's trying to move the moon phase forward, when in actuality, he's just supercharging himself.
Fuck you.
This adds a second stipulation to Fast Light. Now, not only do we need to make sure that we are fully buffed, but we
Honestly,
also need to make sure that he does not have his buffs up. If either of those two conditions aren't met... Thankfully, there is one saving grace here. Because Kagutsuchi thinks this is phase shift, he will not use Omnipotence on 6/8 waxing, as that would make the moon full, which could result in him missing his chance to use Fast Light. Thus, 6/8 waxing is our safety.
I have no idea how I figured that out.
If it's safe to use a Takasha Stone on that turn, do so. This fight is going to take a lot of trial and error, because the odds of us dying are higher than any other fight. To compare it to Metatron, the odds Metatron would kill us started low and got higher the more times he rolled the dice. Kagutsuchi is the same, but his odds start at like 60%. This is also the reason we won't be stalling him out of his 40,000 MP today, even if I wanted to. As if that wasn't already bad enough, once you get him to around 12,000 HP, he begins casting Antictathon. Antictathon puts us in an unbelievably bad situation, as it means we need to heal and rebuff in order to make the Vast Light check. Ideally, you want to spend as little time in this fight as possible, as the more opportunities you give him to cast Antictathon, the greater the odds he puts you in an unwinnable situation. Omnipotence into Antictathon on 4/8 waxing is guaranteed lethal unless you crit a drain attack. This fight was insane, and it was so variable, there wasn't a single problem I could tweak my build to solve. Sometimes I would just die to Vast Light, sometimes to a double basic, sometimes I'd get really far and lose to Antictathon. This fight was just too unpredictable. The RNG kept dealing me unwinnable hands. But if RNG can deal me an unwinnable hand, maybe it can deal me a winning hand too. It's happening, guys! Phase 2 is a go! I could not go back to Kagutsuchi 1. I had to win this now. There was no turning
Who
back.
wants to be a challenge runner?
Kagutsuchi 2 drops the moon phase mechanic entirely. So this is a straight fight at 100% damage. And even though Hardtype doesn't change this fight much, even his HP is actually the same, it does give him one thing. Infinite Light now acts as a silent prayer, while also healing him for over 1,000 HP. And if you thought he liked using Omnipotence, ooh boy. This is the same story as before. If you get hit by this attack and aren't buffed up, you will die. However, he no longer has
In an
Omnipotence.
odd moon phase?
Infinite Light
The moon
takes
phase is set to
control
nuke the
jump.
second you start the fight.
So whenever he uses it, heal up with an item to give yourself the greatest odds of not dying, and then Heat Riser at the first opportunity. That being said, there's very little we can do if Kagutsuchi decides to use this move over and over.
Murderous Light.
This fight is entirely out of your control, at first glance. With a healthy supply of beads and bead chains, Kagutsuchi would have to sit on Infinite Light for an impossibly long amount of time to truly mill us out. Eventually, his AI will get bored and do something else, and that's when we go for damage. At roughly 3,000 damage per magma axis, he needs to use Infinite Light 3 times over the course of 6 turns to completely invalidate one hit. 6 turns to hour 1 put the odds in our favor. He can sit on Infinite Light all
The older
he
you
wants,
do in an
and
SMT
mind
game
you,
besides killing your
sometimes he
friends.
will.
Killing
Unless you go
God.
from 4,000 HP to over 16,000 but so long as you stick to the loop, the fight is entirely in your hands.
Me when the light is infinite.
Goodbye!
This one, for me, I want your guys' opinion. Between this next scene and, quoting the actual Tandava for SMT5 Demonless. What do you guys think is more pretentious?
God is dead. God remains dead. And you have killed him. How shall you comfort yourself, the murderer of all murderers?
Literally quoted the chi here. I like both. Honestly, it's a compliment for me either way.
What was holiest and mightiest of all?
How often do I get to do that anyhow?
The world is yet owned has bled to death under your knife. Who will wipe this blood of you? What water is there to clean yourself?
Yeah, Seal and Drake did such a great job.
None.
Seal and Drake did such a great job. Drake doesn't have as many lines as Seal did, but God, the couple he got, he did such a good job as old Lucy.
Lucifer has undergone the most changes of any fight in the entire game. Hardtype drops all of his normal attacks.
How much does it cost to hire you for VA? I don't remember Drake's rates, but Seal's rates are Seal's rates are pretty low, I'm pretty sure. Drake's are higher, but Drake's are also fair. Like, all the voice actors I've ever hired, all the rates they've given me have always been more than fair. I usually end up paying them more anyway.
Moves, Prominence, Mabufudine, Megidolan, etc., and instead gives him a suite of moves entirely unique to him, along with upgrading the other unique parts of his kit. In Phase 1, you'll see his basic attack and Evil Gleam as normal. His basic attack no longer does damage, but instead drains 166...
I actually, hang on, I remember the number. I'm pretty sure, how much to hire you? I've always liked, Voltage. Voltage was my, what's his name? Roland. Voltage was my Roland for DDS2. He was also my Seto for Duelist of the Roses. His rates are 25 cents a line. So, I would... honestly, I would probably charge, like, 20 to 15. Just because I know I don't think I'm nearly as established, and I think charging what he charges is unfair. Drake, I believe, is, no, it's, Voltage is 25 cents per word. Drake is $3 per line. I remember that from, Vengeance. However, Drake was actually, I sent Drake, I was like, alright, so, this is gonna be about $12, right? And he was like, oh, I thought I was doing this for free. And, I was like, oh, no, I'm paying you. It's either or. Cause like, $3 per line is solid if the lines are big. 25 cents per word is solid if you have fewer words. Both make sense. I don't mind either. However, on the topic of, hurting my wallet purification, first of all, don't worry about that. Second of all, I actually have to give a very heartfelt shout out to a lot of people on this one. Deus, Game Champ, and Voltage still did it. Not Voltage. Drake was going to do it anyway, and honestly, that's what matters. Just on virtue of what the project was, or for Drake, the size of what I asked him to do, all of them did their lines pro bono. I offered Deus and Game Champ money. They told me no. I cannot even give words. That means so much to me, and I would, if either of them ever need anything, I'm there. In my mind, I owe them at least $50 of lines. I'm not surprised if the Game Champ, I've seen her show up in small YouTube channel runs. She's just generally, she's so good. She's so good.
MP from the target.
Also, to be clear, no hate to the people who did take the money or just charge as normal. That is completely normal. That's completely understandable. I went into literally every single interaction assuming I was paying people. Like, I'm like, I am paying, like, how, like, for this, how much does this sound? What are your rates? How much do you want? I opened on assuming I'm paying people. I never asked for that. I will never ask for that.
And also always counts as a critical hit, so it only costs
exactly Super Mario.
Press turn.
Yep, there's one more.
Yeah. Now deals damage and
anyway, let me pull this back. We've been talking over this.
Suite of moves entirely unique to him, along with upgrading the other unique parts of his kit. In Phase 1, you'll see his basic attack and Evil Gleam as normal. His basic attack no longer does damage, but instead drains 166 MP from the target, and also always counts as a critical hit, so it only costs him 1/2 press turn. In addition, Evil Gleam now deals damage and inflicts panic instead of charm. As for new moves, he packs Phlegathon, a severe AoE fire attack that
he
applies
stole
to
Lupa's move,
and Judacia 2, a severe AoE ice attack that also has a chance to proc stone. In Phase 2, he begins using High King, which now inflicts Mute instead of Bind.
I agree
also
with Mario.
adds in Weeping Heaven for severe AoE Electric and a stun chance, and Cardinal Winds for severe AoE Force with a charm chance. Once you reach his final phase, he also adds Hades Blast into the mix, which is honestly his weakest move, but hey, high power AoE physical never hurt anybody, especially not on a 38% crit rate. But this is where we get to Root of Evil, which has been completely reworked. Rather than being a D10 on the Wild Magic table, it is now a -4 to all stats. This puts you on the back foot immediately, and I highly recommend as many Dekuna Rocks as you can carry. If he combos it with any attack, heal up first, but get your buff situation under control as soon as you can.
Also, thank you to Zeph for suggesting this song to me.
Lucifer gives us so many bases we need to cover, lest we get completely manhandled. Physical, fire, ice, electric, force, panic, and mute. Which would certainly be a problem if Deus and Nearly had it made sure we were completely ready for it. In order to defeat Ball, Avatar, and Noah, Repel or Drain to every single element was required. And in order to defeat Lucifer, and let's be honest, Kagutsuchi as well, we needed Repel and Drain to every element. While I honestly thought Force Drain over Repel was a concession I had to make to stall Ball Avatar, it turned out to be really helpful here. Cardinal Winds is a huge amount of healing for us that also helps mitigate his offensive attacks. And plus, Fire Repel even lets us debuff Lucifer by repelling his Phlegathon back at him.
Yeah.
Speaking of repels,
you're right.
You might be wondering why I suggested Iomante for this fight. Wouldn't Masakatos be better to prevent Mute from High King? Well, remember what I said for Asiel? Also, fun fact, the way repels work in Nocturne, the enemy takes the damage you would have taken. So it's actually better for us to not resist physical for these fights, as it doubles the value of every attack mirror. The same applies here. By not resisting all elements, the power of all of our repels and drains doubles. And we don't really care about Mute either, since Lucifer's basic will drain our MP to 0 within like the first 2 seconds of the fight anyway. So Iomante and our repels cover everything we care about. This doesn't mean the fight is free though. Lucifer will fight you every step of the way, but you have all the tools to fight him back. Since we have no MP, swap back to Luster Candy strats. If you pick up the Chakra Elixir at the bottom of the obelisk once the tower is available, the Luster glitch is now infinite use as long as you're not
better than a Pierce Divine shot.
Lucifer will take care of himself. You are constantly at risk at losing it all, and Lucifer can definitely heal himself, but slowly, he will bring himself lower and lower. 40,000, 30,000, 20, 15, 10. And eventually, we bring him to 118 HP. And the impossible becomes real.
The best defense, defense is the best offense is the best offense is defense. Whatever the hell the saying is.
So many times. So much. So much. Think about everything. Think about resetting the game to the craters at the start of the fucking terminal. Think about resetting for that Miragi Rock. Think about Dante shooting us 18 quadrillion fucking times with Ebony and Ivory for -1 defense and evasion. Think about Thor blasting us with Mjolnir. Think about how we milled out Metatron, Oze, and just like so many other fucking guys. Think about how we leveled a 211 for Trumpeter.
Yeah, oh, chat was
we
going
made
nuts.
The shaman look like a fucking joke. Think about how we sat there and grinded out Ball Avatar until it fucking worked. Think about the unabashed luck that it took to allow Kagutsuchi to not Etakaitan us to death. And think about the sound of one last
I was shitting
slide
myself. So I think Zeph said it. I was just like, I'm gonna.
Because you can't just beat, but you can complete Shin Megami Tensei Nocturne Hardtype. Solo, hard, true demon ending, one press turn, no new game plus, ground up, without using any demons! I started streaming the original Nocturne Demonless run on December 11th, 2019. I had to learn so much about that game in order to beat it that I was able to make videos talking about its formulas. Videos that are
Thank you
still
guys for coming
referenced
tonight.
online today. It is bizarre to me to see gaming websites talking about information that wasn't easily accessible until I sought it out.
This was so fun
It's weird
tonight.
to say, but more than I think any other game, this game has changed my life. It gave me a presence, a platform. It gave my close friend a platform. And in some ways, I helped it as much as it helped me. The Hardtype hack has always had this unapproachable air about it, almost an air of mystique, likely due to it being a PS2 hack for a game that didn't have any others. I've spoken a lot about untreaded ground, but I mean, shit, these games are all about human potential. What a human can do if they're willing to put themselves to the grindstone and find out if it can be done. The only time we can't do something isn't just when we accept that we can't, but when we refuse to find a way to do so.
I love this
And
dialogue.
today, I showed that the Hardtype hack, something that stood on a pedestal for so many, could be conquered just the same as anything that came before it. So thank you, Zombero, for giving us a fantastically made hack for a fantastic game. Thank you, Deus, Gnarly, and Game Champ, for inspiring and motivating me to push myself and make each video better. Thank you to Zephyr for being a great co-host and great friend, and thank you to Zephyr for fact-checking me on Nocturne's information. Thank you to everyone who tuned into my live streams even once.
That includes
especially
y'all.
the 62 people who were there to see me take down Lucifer. Thank you so much to all of you for watching, liking, subscribing, and bringing us this far. But more than that, thank you, Shin Megami Tensei Nocturne.
Are you satisfied?
Yes.
Good. Then walk proud, onward, towards your next challenge.
Nocturne died. And I was given life. Thank you all so much for watching. I know this video was a bit... That's loud. This shit means so much. The fact that like all y'all were there for a lot of this just really makes me happy. I have to watch the credits myself. I mean, fuck shit. Sillier than usual. So let me know if you prefer this style or the style of some of my earlier stuff. Also, thanks again to Deus, Game Champ, and Yarly for letting me write them a bit on the goofy side, and for delivering some amazing performances. And of course, thank you to Zephyr, Train, King Titanite, Sonata, Seal, and Drake for filling the rest of the roles. And to Thanos Prakidis, Lynn CPK, and FemC for the visual help. And of course, super special shoutouts have to go to Mason White Gaming for the Metatron mix. And speaking of shoutouts, special thanks go to YouTube members Dawn Shimmer, Ryoko Strifer, Part-Time Prick, Axel Ryman, Fabrizio Pignataro, Upland2, Not D Wadler, Jaffinator2166, Pika the Wumpus, Scott Rouch, Hunter Regal, Ray the Shame, Shadowcoin, Platinum, Agwith Dragonflame, and Tagless. And to Patreon members, Cuddlefish, Gracemy, Kirara, Sokekyon, Trucker96, Axel Rosenberg, Dylan Toomey, Hound, and T. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
Fantasy is more than just a dream. You can make it a reality.
Thank you for staying up so late with me, everybody. And I hope all of you night owls, model, I hope for all of you night owls that you're all willing to get up with me tomorrow. I'm also supposed to do heat themes. 4 an apocalypse solo, possible solo. 4, I'm not sure. Apocalypse. Let's just say I'm quite well versed in attacking and dethroning God. Thank you all for coming, everybody. And when my model starts swinging out, I will see you all tomorrow for Parasite Eve, day 1. It will not be a long stream, but it's day 1. Cut me some slack. Ta-ta.